Alright, I'm just trying to get my chat set up in OBS. Give me a second. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Ba 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 ba. Oh, na 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 na. How do I edit docs? Reset docs? Custom? No, son of a bitch. It. Fuck. Alright, let me get a new one. Apply. Close. Docs. Alright, there we go. Cool. Got it. Yay! Alright, here we go. Hey, it's your local live Bobcat Wolfenstein here in person. On your screen. We're gonna watch Darrell Rick's sentencing day 2. I don't know what to expect. I've purposefully not watched any of this stuff just so I could watch it with you guys. And I will skip around to whatever I fucking feel like, just so you know. Is he praying? He's got his Bible open. All
Hearing.
Right. Good
I
job.
do have the Zoom up. I have not brought in any of the individuals.
Yeah, you gotta have Zoom up.
From the waiting room just yet. I wanted to know if there was anything the court needed to address before bringing those individuals in and then turning to Mr. Brooks to start his portion of the sentencing hearing from the state.
There's two issues that I'm aware of, Your Honor. One is we're requesting if the court would briefly allow a young girl by the name of Brooke, who provided an impact statement yesterday, to read that statement again. She felt like she did not get a good chance to do that yesterday, and it's a brief statement if you would just allow that.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted for the record to let the court know that at the close of today's hearing, we will be prepared to address the motion for stay pending appeal.
All right, thank you. Can you remind me, was she interrupted at all based on anything that went on yesterday? Was that either
That's a good question.
The court taking a break?
Yes, it was related to, or Mr. Brooks' removal from the courtroom, yes.
All right, any comment or position on the request that she be able to restate her victim impact statement prior to the people we have on Zoom for you making their statements, sir?
I don't recall that particular victim being interrupted because of the issue with me being sent to the other courtroom. I think it may have been a break that may have cut that particular.
It was yesterday,
victim
dude.
Off from the statement.
What?
Whatever the circumstances were, I have a request from a victim to give a statement. I'm going to honor that request and allow her to make that statement before I turn things over to you and the people who are on Zoom on your behalf, okay?
You probably
Other
just
than that, is there anything else you wish the court to
any
address
chance
before
you
I
had of
hear
that statement
from
not being reread?
victims or your family members?
Yes, I just wanted to let the court know that there will be, in fact, 4 people speaking on my behalf, if that pleases Your Honor.
All by Zoom?
Yes, correct.
Are they all on your list?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
No new entries. All pursuant to what I submitted to Your Honor.
Madam Clerk, do we have 3 or 4 individuals on by Zoom?
3. I guess I just wasn't clear if the fourth was going to...
There was an issue with his
Is the
appeal
fourth
too.
another of the
The
individuals
documents
that
missing.
already is on our Zoom?
But part of that has to do.
I believe the 4th was trying to.
He got put on suicide watch, which I'm not okay. Let's talk about that for a second. I've been to jail. And you know what? If you piss off the your what do they call them? COs or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, correction officers that you're working with. If you piss them off, boy, they will say, "Did you hear him say he was going to kill himself?" They'll say, "Yeah, I did hear him say he was going to kill himself." And all of a sudden, you get put into a very serious situation. He has pissed off every legal official. I'm guessing. Don't take my. This is not the gospel or anything like that. But he has abused the legal system to the point that they are frustrated with him. And so yeah, they might have put him on suicide watch because they said, "Do you hear him say he was gonna?" I heard him say he was gonna. Oh man! Oh no! We're gonna take all your stuff away, put you in a room. You're not gonna have nothing, son. Oh, I told you. Wait till you get the general population. I told you. I told you. Just wait.
Access the Zoom link. They expressed that they had already had the Zoom ready to speak on my behalf, but they were having a little bit of trouble, I guess, accessing the link from the courts.
Because it's not open yet.
Tell us the individuals you have on by Zoom right now.
I have Mary Edwards.
Do you not know how
Dawn
Zoom
Wood,
works?
And Dawn one, that I assume is Woods.
All right, who would be the fourth then? So
Miss Marsha Winters.
Marsha Winters. Oh, we don't have a Marsha Winters on. I know your mom has the Zoom information. It's an ID, a meeting ID, and a password, not a link. So hopefully that can
I
be.
think he sent the link too. He created the
Oh,
link.
he created the link.
So
All right.
There should be both.
I'll have Madam Clerk also put in the chat to the Zoom the meeting ID and password once again and indicate that it can be provided to Ms. Winters,
Yes, Miss Winters, correct.
should she need it.
That might be the mix up maybe she was having. Maybe she thought it was a link, or I'm not sure.
could be.
Yeah. People
The
are
clerks have that as
technologically
well, so
inclined. I
it's-
know this. I'm an IT
We'll get
person.
it.
Okay.
That's
We'll
my
put
job.
it in
That's
the
my day job.
broadcast.
Is I'm an IT.
There's a chat
okay?
function. We'll get it
Just
in
so you
there
know.
so they can pass it on, and hopefully at the appropriate time she'll be able to join. Brooke would like to stand up. I know it's a minor. And thank you. The microphone is being handed to her. All right, go ahead. And thank you for being here.
Hello, my name is Brooke Sorensen. I'm Virginia Sorensen's granddaughter. The things I miss about my grandma are me and my sister Mackenzie doing foot races around the driveway, and my grandma would do commentary and time us. She always cheered us on at all of our activities. I would DJ at dancing granny parties and carry the banner at parades with my grandpa while Grammy danced. When we would get on the school bus, she would say reading is the key to learning to be nice, kind, brave, and angels watch over you. After school, we would talk on the porch. Other times, when we came over to her house, we would play games together, go to the playground, have drawing contests, dance parties, and work on granny routines. She would give us snacks when we watched some of our favorite movies like Polar Express and Coco. When we first found out that she was gone, I started to cry, and I would cry every night. I miss her so much and still do today. Darrell Brooks, you took her from me, my sister, and my family. The things we will miss the most are not seeing her again, her smile, her laugh, being able to talk to her, and doing fun things with her. My sister and I pray every night for our Grammy and our family. Grammy, I will see you in my dreams, and I know you will be watching over me.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about the dancing grannies. I would have liked to have seen that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You took from us the
Yeah, the
dancing grannies we never got to see. God damn you!
We will bring in the
Burn in hell, you
individuals
piece of shit.
on the Zoom, and then I'll give them some instructions on how that should proceed.
Oh, let's see his impact statements. Oh boy, let's go. Come on. I'm here for this.
Do you have all three trying to join?
I admitted all at the same time.
Hey, also, this is an invitation for anybody who wants to come hang out with me anytime that I'm doing these videos, kind of recapping. I'd love to have company. I'd love to have somebody else to talk about these things with. So,
Is
you
this
know,
your mom? All right, so I can see Dawn Woods
If
on
you-
the Zoom. Miss Woods, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. I know you have your camera on. You're unmuted. There are two other individuals on the Zoom. They currently have their cameras off. I believe they're both muted. I would just simply ask that we take one person in turn. You are on the Zoom. It is viewable in the courtroom. I want to acknowledge, ma'am, I did receive what I believe is a written statement that you faxed to the court.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then if that is, I'm not sure who joined us at the moment. All right, is that Ms. Edwards? All right, Ms. Edwards, if you could please, I'm going to have Ms. Woods talk first, and then I'll have you next. If you could keep your camera off and your microphone muted until it's your turn to talk. That way I can give my full attention to Ms. Woods.
Sure.
There we go. Very good. Thank you. All right. So once again, Ms. Woods, I believe you sent in a fax yesterday. Is that right?
No, I believe it was this morning.
Oh, this morning. All right. I have
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
and I've read it. Go ahead. What would you like to tell the court? And thank you for being with us today.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. I have two things I would like to tell. One is a written statement, Your Honor, and then I have a poem I would like to read after my statement, if that's permissible. Okay, thank you, thank you. Mental illness affects everyone. It destroys lives, families, and hurts society. For far too long, it's been a dirty little secret in families that no one wants to talk about. Mental illness is the elephant in the room that so many pretend it's not there. People who suffer from it are often shunned by families and friends, rejected by society, and made fun of, the subject of bad jokes, ridiculed, and judged on YouTube, podcasts, Facebook, and other media posts, used in campaign ads, disrespected, stripped of their dignity. No one cares, no one sees their pain or hears their cries and pleas for help.
I gotta speak to this.
They are
I'm gonna pause this. I gotta speak
viewed
to
by
this.
many.
I've gotta say this. Lack of discipline is not a mental health issue. It is a behavioral issue that is caused by a lack of proper upbringing. He is not, narcissism doesn't come from mental illness. It comes from shitty fucking parenting. Shitty parenting. You let him take your car and run people down in the fucking street, and you're still here defending him. You learn to love your abuser, I guess. That's what I'm gonna say. You raised a tyrant. You let him abuse you, and now you are trying to excuse. You're letting him abuse you, turning him into killing people and maiming people in the fucking street with your own fucking car. Fuck you.
Of not having a place in a society. It is no fault of their own that they have become ill and began to change from the person we all knew. Once viewed as fun, loving, and kind, are now the outcasts of society. We say what's wrong with society? They're idiots, unfit. They need to be disposed of, thrown out with the rest of the trash. They serve no purpose. The same my brother's keeper doesn't apply to them. And the Bible, in the book of Philippians chapter 2, verse 4, it says, let each of you not look only to his own interests, but also the interests of others.
Spare the rod, spoil the
Mental illness
child.
caused them to
Did
do
you whoop his
something.
ass when he was a kid?
They
Probably
must be
not.
punished. Yes, I agree. There should be some accountability for their actions. But we also must render help. What good is punishment without correction to prevent the act from happening again? In their cases, or many of their cases,
You sealed his fucking
treatment, therapy, medication,
or good
hospitals,
parenting.
and institutions
How about good
that
parenting?
specialize in
How about good
helping those
parenting?
who suffer with mental illness
Or good
need to be
parenting.
offered.
Or good parenting.
And I believe these places can help those who suffer become mentally well.
Or good parenting.
I believe
You failed.
lawmakers and society as a whole need to recognize mental illness.
Dude,
Mental illness cannot be eradicated with prison bars.
the guy's 40 fucking years old. You've been coddling his ass for that fucking long and you're still defending him. What the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously.
Mental illness is going to always be there. It's invasive. With treatment and therapy, medication, and hospitals and institutions that specialize in the treatment of mental illness, it can be controlled. What else can we do as a society to help? those who suffer from mental illness? How about showing a little compassion, empathy, and some understanding? Families need to advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves or
Apathy?
who struggle to understand what's happening to them. Lawmakers should support
Apathy
by
for
providing
someone
resources to
who
individuals so they
literally
can get the help they need.
ran people
Now,
over
I've been dealing with
because he couldn't control his own fucking anger. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
this for over 30 some odd years. And here's my take on it.
Yeah, you failed as a
And
fucking
I think I
parent.
have
That's
a
my
little
fucking
insight on
take.
it. From the surface, I believe that treatments need to be offered. I believe that if treatment is offered early, when the signs of mental illness first shows,
You mean like
and
when he had
it's
bad
addressed
discipline
and stayed on
issues
top of,
when he was
so
a
that people
child?
lagger and fall through the cracks, just maybe there would be less court cases and less people crying because their loved ones was hurt or was injured or killed because someone of mental illness attacked them. Maybe that needs to be done. Treatment needs to be done early and right away, and stay
I
upon,
can't
and not let people fall
fucking
through the
believe
cracks
this
hole,
shit.
and
I
not
literally
get
can't believe
shunned
that shit.
out the door. It's the same. You don't have a mental illness. You're just a bad person. You need to
Exactly.
be locked up.
Bobby,
Jail is not the
dude,
only
you
answer.
exactly.
Help,
Why did
treatment,
she not
hospitalization, and
get him
medication
mental
plays
fucking
a
health
big role in
care?
preventing this where we are today if it would have been offered sooner. Now, I have a poem that I have adopted,
Thank you.
not just for my son Darrell, but for all the people who suffer from mental illness. And I let this be my theme.
Excellent
It's an
point, Bobby.
inspiration. And I hope that Darrell will find strength in this poem. I sent it to him. And it's a poem that was written by the late, great Maya Angelou. I don't know if you're familiar with her writings,
Oh,
but she
of
was
course.
a
Of
brilliant
course.
poet.
Yes.
And she wrote this poem back in
Yes.
1969
Of course.
for a totally different reason. It was during the racial injustice era, but I believe it applies.
Yeah,
to those who
of course
suffer
we're gonna
from
make it
mental
about
illness as
racial
well.
injustice.
It's called Caged Bird. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to touch the sky. But a caged bird that stalks down his narrow cage
No, the
can
cage.
seldom see
You know
through
this.
his bars of rage. His
Dude,
wings
come
are
on.
clipped and his feet are tied, and he opens his throat.
We
to
all know
sing.
this fucking poem.
The caged
I
bird
don't have
sings
nothing to do with
with
running
fearful
people
thrill
down in the
of
fucking
things
street,
unknown,
man.
but long for still. And his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds that when soft winds with soft shines through the trees.
Oh
And
yeah.
his back
Oh,
birds
cry,
waiting
buddy.
on the dawn's
Yep.
bright lawn.
Yeah, I'm sure she's
And he
read you this
names
poem a
God
million
his own.
times, and you thought that this was
But
going
a
to be
caged bird
your out.
stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on the nightmare scream. Their
You're going to
wings
file
are
this as your appeal?
Their feet are tied. They open their mouths to sing. The caged bird sings of fearful thrills, of things unknown, but long for still. And his tune is heard on a distant hill. The caged birds sing of freedom. Everyone who suffers from mental illness is caged.
You know what kind of bird don't
All they
fly?
want is to be free
A jailbird.
and become mentally well. I believe as a society, we have an obligation to help those become mentally well with treatment, medication, hospitalization,
Where were
or
you?
sent to an institution
Where were
where
you?
they can get the intense help. And if they have to stay for the rest of their lives away from society, at least they are getting the help they need to become mentally
Where
well.
were you?
We are our brother's keepers.
You,
And I
I,
also want to say to
we're
his family
fucking
who
son's
lost loved
keeper.
ones,
Where were you?
and those who suffered injuries,
Oh
that I know their
God.
pain, and I pray that the Lord will continue to comfort and heal each of them. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Woods, and I should have said this earlier. I have 3 monitors in front of me, and the monitor that I'm pointing at right now is the monitor that the Zoom shows up, so that's why I look like I'm turned away, but I'm actually watching you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Then I'll turn next to Mary Edwards. If you want to turn your camera on and unmute, and then Ms. Woods, if you
Yes,
would.
ma'am.
If you want to take her camera.
Good afternoon.
And I should say for the record that obviously Dawn Woods was the first speaker, and then I have Mary Edwards. If you can let me know who's next to you, please.
Oh,
I don't want to tell
there's
you
no
the
one
order,
next to
but-
me at the moment. Thank you. Okay. Are we good to
Who's-
go?
I need to know who's in the room with you because I saw them.
Oh, that's my husband. Okay, he's not in the room at the
What the
moment.
fuck am I looking at here?
That's okay.
He's not here.
I just wanted to know I
Is
saw
the problem
someone.
with him being here?
No, he can be
A
there since
social
I know who it is.
influencer.
We'll just.
All right, it's not my husband is here.
Will he be
Okay.
speaking or just you?
No. No, he's not speaking.
All right, go ahead. Thank you for being here today. And again, if I
What
look
the
like
fuck?
I'm looking to the side, it's because that's where the monitor that I can see you is located. So go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. For the record, my name is Dr. Mary Darlene Edwards.
Doctor.
And I am not the wicked grandmother of the West. I am the grandmother of Darrell Edward Brooks Jr. And I asked to be here today for two reasons. First of all, from the bottom of my heart, I want to offer my sincere apologies to those who have been hurt so badly by what has happened here, this tragedy that has been caused.
Okay. I've been saying it. I know that like I'm not popular or anything like that, and if in like half of my videos are over 2 hours long, so it's gonna be hard to find it. But I've been saying it. This guy was probably raised by his grandma. Ooh, dude. Hello, grandma. Hello. And look at her. She is. Oh, man. Fuck. She's like an Instagram influencer or some shit. Look, she's got her name behind her head. She's wearing like a color coordinated thing with the background, with a whole aesthetic, man. A whole aesthetic. Oof. These people are attention driven. They're attention driven. If they don't get the attention that they want, somebody's gonna pay. Fuck. Bobby, I appreciate your comments, man. That's
By my
you were right
grandson.
on.
I want to also apologize to the family of the little boy. I understand their name is Sparks. And to all of those whose lives have been damaged by this overwhelming tragedy. As a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I want to give the family and those who've been hurt so badly the scripture, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. And I say this, please know that it's my prayer that my grandson will sincerely and humbly apologize and ask all of you and God for forgiveness for this horrible, terrible deed.
You mean instead of asking the jury to nullify? Which is what he literally did. He literally asked the jury to nullify. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Some of you have said that you will never forgive him. Please do not be like the man who drank the poison and hoped his enemy would die. Unforgiveness is a terrible disease, just like mental illness is. Truly, there have been many losses because of this tragedy. Darrell's mother has lost a son. I've lost a grandson. Darrell's children have lost a father. And Darrell has lost his mind and his life in the outside world. Darrell's behavior, including his voice, should get the attention of the powers that be, both near and far. Darrell has suffered from bipolar since the age of 12, and it was that disorder that caused him to drive through that crowd. It is my prayer that he will be treated for this illness and managed in a facility that addresses mental health concerns. We must.
Okay. I'm gonna point out my wife has dealt with bipolar issues. I deal with a bipolar person. She was raised by her grandmother. She's had problems with her parents, off and on. I recognize this situation a little too much, though I'm thankful that my wife has never her anger issues, and trust me, she has them. And fuck, I shouldn't even be talking about this. I've seen exactly the beginnings of this behavior, but it comes from a broken home and being raised by your goddamn grandparents, where they can't stop you from being the shithead.
Hard with a younger generation.
Fuck.
Finally, I'm 80 years old, and I have been an ordained minister for the gospel of Jesus Christ for 47 of these 80 years. If you look at my background, you will see that God has used my life to bring about positive change in multitudes of residents in the city of Detroit and beyond. I share this information not to boast. That is not my intention, but rather to let you know that I care about people and their well-being. I've spent more than half of my life helping what the Bible calls the least of these, AKA society's rejects. Since this tragedy, I have become a mental health coach. This will help me
Oh,
better
you become a
understand
mental
this
health
horrible
coach?
disease, which has plagued my family for generations.
That's not a great.
Presently, there is a church in Detroit
That's a
that is planning to
pretty poor promotion from you. That your life coaching situation or whatever the fuck you just said leads to people running people down in the goddamn parade. Fuck me. Are you serious? What the fuck? Who are these people? Who are these people?
establish a mental health clinic on the east side of Detroit. Without hesitation, I will support this effort and do everything I can to help those struggling with mental illness. Before I close, I
You
just wanted
should
to
have
share with
started
you
at
some facts
home.
with
You
regard
fuck.
to mental illness, and I got this from the government's mental health website. There's a myth that said mental health problems don't affect me. Many people don't feel like it affects them. That's a myth. It affects everyone. It's a common problem. In 2020, and listen to this, 1 in 5 American
Oh.
adults experience a mental health issue. 1 in 6 young people experience a major depression
Oh yeah. Well, we're just
episode.
gonna excuse
One
it
in
then.
20
Oh,
Americans
well, it's
live with a
just
serious mental illness,
it's just a statistic. So
such
I
as
mean, we'll
schizophrenia,
just fuck it all. Yeah,
bipolar
we'll just chalk it
disease,
all up to
or
that. And
major depression.
fuck those 6 people that fucking
Suicide is a
died.
leading
Fuck the
cause of
fucking
death in the
60
United
fucking people
States.
that got
In
fucking.
fact, it was the
Oh
second leading
my
cause of
god.
death for people ages 10 to 24. It accounted for the loss of more than 45,979
You should have been
Americans
dancing with them fucking
in
grannies.
2020.
Go
That's
dance with the
nearly
fucking
double
grannies.
the number of lives lost to homicide. As a
You go
result of
dance
this
with the
great
fucking
tragedy,
grannies.
I'm dedicated to living the next chapter of my life with a mental health awareness campaign.
I'm having a
I
mental
have faith
health
to believe that God
issue
will
right
hear the
now.
voices
Listen to you
of all
speak.
those impacted by this horrible disease, as well as the cries
You
of the
are the
mentally
fucking
ill.
disease.
I
You are
thank
the
you for this
disease.
opportunity to share with you from the bottom of my heart, and my prayers will continue on for those who have been affected. God bless you all.
Fuck you.
Thank you,
Eat
Ms.
shit
Edwards.
and burn in hell, you piece of shit.
Is there anyone else on the Zoom, Madam Clerk?
No, and I reached out to Zach.
Make excuses for your fucking
Mr.
shitty
Brooks, we do not have
praising
anyone else.
of this.
Oh, we have Michelle Allworth. Sorry about that.
Fuck.
Thank you, thank you. All right, if Ms. Allworth then would start her camera and unmute, and we'll hear from her next. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Well, I love getting
And you
Hi,
angry.
my name is Michelle Allward. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead,
I'm kind of
please.
sick. My son is here in the room with me. He's sick from homeschool school.
That's okay. Go
My name is
ahead.
Michelle. My name is Michelle Allworth. I met Darrell Brooks Jr. 17 years ago when we both lived in Sparks, Nevada. He became my best friend, and over time we became brother and sister to each other.
Oh, you mean he was
We
grooming
shared
you
so many
like
good
he
times,
did
whether it was hanging out
the
at the
mother
house,
of
listening to
one of his
music,
kids?
movies, or just having
Cool.
conversations.
Nice.
A good laugh. He always had a smile
Nice.
on his face and the best laughs and jokes. Going out to theaters and a movie, going out to eat, attending Hot August Nights, which is a car show in Reno, Nevada, the rib cook-off. He shared with me multiple times on a daily basis since this has happened last year, how remorseful he truly is. Sorry. He is a very private person when it comes to his feelings and emotions, and it only happens with family and close friends. They say blood is thicker than water. Well, you can choose to make your own family. I've chosen to make Darrell part of my family. I will always have his back, even with this tragic event. I suffered from medical issues as well. I had epilepsy and cerebral palsy. My whole life, I've had it my whole life. Darrell was there several times that I had seizures. He called 911, went to the ER with me, stayed with me by my side when I went home, and helped in any way that he could help me. Sorry. Because of this reason and him being a family friend to me, he lived with me back in 2006 and again in either 2013 or 14. I'm glad he lived with me at those times because I black out during a seizure and I'm able to call 911. He lived with me for over a year. I wouldn't have let him had I not trusted him with my life. He had never shown any signs being this way on what happened November 21st, 2021. This is not the Darrell I know. He is a loving, compassionate, loyal, and humble person. He would give a complete stranger that needed it the shirt off his back, the last dollar in his pocket, or a place to stay. During this manic episode, he had blacked out the whole incident. I have prayed a lot since 2016 because of my medical issues and almost lose my life to a seizure, and even more now since this has all happened. I know what happened with those lives being lost and people being injured is terrible. It's something Darrell will have to live with for the rest of his life and always carry that with him, knowing this. Happened. I hope that I hope that he gets the help he needs for his mental illness. My hope as well is that he gets help in a mental facility, and that's it. Thank you very much for your time, everyone.
Thank you. All right, at this time, Madam Clerk, has anyone else joined the Zoom? No. All right, then at this time, the court will close the Zoom. The proceedings are being live streamed and family and friends can watch that way as well. Mr. Brooks, I'll turn it over to you then. This is your opportunity to address the court. What, if anything, would you like to say, sir?
Yeah, I do have a lot to say. I would like to stand up if I may.
Go ahead.
It's emotional. I apologize for taking so long. I'm going to start first by giving glory to God. I believe in Jesus Christ wholeheartedly. I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I believe that he was sent here by the Father to die for all of our sins, everybody. Everybody in this courtroom today, everyone walking this planet, mostly for those of us who will believe. I believe that he was crucified on the cross of Calvary, and he shed his blood on that cross, and he died, and he was buried, and then he rose again after 3 days to glory. Took his glorious place at the right hand of the Father. The Bible says that he was exalted. Learning how to wrap my head around this whole situation has been extremely hard. Extremely hard. You get minimal time to reflect in a place like this. But one of those I have a lot of, and this has nothing to do with the victims, the families of the victims. And as a matter of fact, I'm grateful that they had the opportunity to voice their, I think it was clear, clarify one thing.
Because of my medical issues and almost lose my life for the rest.
The court, what if anything?
You have a lot to say. I'm gonna like to stand up if I may.
Go.
It's emotional. I apologize for taking so long. Jesus Christ, wholeheartedly, I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Courtroom. The Bible says that he was every knee shall bow in heaven, on earth, and under the earth, and every tongue shall confess that Jesus is Lord to the glory of God the Father. I just want to clarify one thing. A lot of references was made to one of the things I said regarding my conscience being clear. And having the time to think about it last night and to understand that the victims have the right to feel how they want to feel. They have the right to their opinions. And understanding that there's a lot of emotion, pain, frustration, anger, hatred, a lot of emotions. But I don't want that comment to be twisted. I don't want that comment to become another narrative that's ran with and taken out of context. That comment was made is because I made the decision to rededicate my life to Christ when this tragedy happened. In no way did that comment refer to not having any remorse, not having any understanding. It was strictly made to that point that I have repented, that I have asked God for forgiveness, that I have sent many prayers up. Learning how to wrap my head around this whole situation has been extremely hard. Extremely hard. You get minimal time to reflect in a place like this. But one of those minimal times that you get to reflect in a place like this is when you're alone in your cell. When it's just you and the walls. One of the victims made a comment about trying to understand why this happened. That's a question I struggle with myself. The why, the how. How could life ever get this
Crap, I forgot I had my mic
far
on.
away from what it should be?
Time ain't
a lot of people
on
make
your side.
About me,
No, it ain't. 'Cause
about who
you're
I
gonna
am,
be
about my family, about my beliefs.
Oh boy. You know what?
I know who I
Maybe
am.
you know what? Hey,
God knows who I am.
let's talk about this for a second. Maybe that was a smart move on his side to go with the suicide watch as opposed to being put in general population, he might have actually saved his own life, potentially. Or at least his ass. Or, you know, just severe physical beatings, basically. I wonder. Actually, you know what? If there's anybody who's ever been like any felon who's ever I'm not a hater, man. I truly give people and fuck. There is ways to redeem yourself, man. This guy is he doesn't care. But if there's anybody who's in if you pop in here and check this out, if you've ever been a felon, I want to know what you think this guy would be treated like in general population. I have a suspicion that it would not be good at all, especially with his just generally confrontational nature, um, argumentative. He don't look that big. I mean, he looks. I mean, he looks like he's got some muscles and shit like that, man. But he don't look that tall. Yeesh. And really, in jail and prison, it really doesn't matter how big you are. Somebody's big enough to put you down. Um, he just doesn't seem to get along well, which means that he would probably not have a good time in the system. But I digress. If anybody knows, if anybody has any opinions, I would love to hear that. I'd love for you guys to share that with me. Anyway, let's continue this. Is he gonna talk for fucking 6 goddamn hours? We're only like 48 minutes into this shit.
And I don't have any words of anger, any shots, so to speak, to throw back. As I said before, I had to look inside myself and understand why the comments was being made, why people feel the way they feel, and they have the right to.
Duh.
If I may.
You just need to turn forward, sir. I don't know if they're ready for that yet.
Respectfully,
You're gonna stand right fucking there.
I think it's important
That's where you've been chained, son.
to state why I did want to turn. Comment was made about this mask. It's something that I've worn the whole year of this incident. I don't. Well, I'm not gonna say no, but I don't feel like I needed to go in too wild. Chose to wear this. There are a lot of different reasons why, but it definitely has nothing to do with hiding anything. There is nothing. When you're on TV every day,
Oh, did you finally
your
get
life
to
is
see
being
yourself?
dissected for the world to see. When your family's on TV every day in some capacity, when you're on pretty much every social media platform.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
What is
You're
there to hide
everywhere, buddy.
I want each and every victim in this incident, family members, those who lost loved ones, those who are still healing.
You mean those you mean the
want you to
people
know
you
that
killed?
No matter how you felt during this year, no matter how you felt yesterday,
Be honest with. Come on, be honest.
I want everyone to know. Also,
Yeah.
the community of Waukesha. I want you to know that not only am I sorry for what happened, I'm sorry that you could not see.
So,
truly in my heart.
wait.
you
Sorry
cannot
for
see
what happened, or
during what
sorry
I-
for
that you
what
cannot-
you fucking did,
Listen to all the phone calls that I've made to my family. That you
dude?
cannot hear all the prayers that I've said in my cell. That you cannot count all the tears that I've dropped. in this year.
Dude. Sorry for what happened is different from sorry for what I did. You did it. What happened is not a happen. It didn't just happen. It was what you did. What you did. Own it. It was not half. The Happening was a movie. The Happening was a movie where people just compulsively decided to kill themselves. Oh, it didn't just happen like The Happening. You killed them. It wasn't what happened. It's what I did. I did what you did. what you did, fuck you. Burn in hell, you piece of shit. Fuck.
Here. The truth is hard a lot of times.
Oh yeah, the truth is fucking hard, you piece
I'm
of
not
shit.
very old by age standards, but I've been alive long enough to understand that a lot of people are comfortable with hearing what they want to hear, being told what they want to be told, and being okay with that. It's easy to accept what's on the surface. It's easy to accept what's being.
This is hold on.
It's harder
I have to stop
to
it
pull back.
again. This is classic narcissistic fucking tactics, saying that you're guilty of what I'm guilty of, but I'm not guilty of what I'm guilty of. This is straight up fucking goddamn textbook. And I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a fucking lawyer. I'm not a behavior analyst. I'm not a gamer. I'm not a musician. I'm not fucking anything. I'm just goddamn Bobcat Wolfenstein, and you, sir, are a piece of shit.
Back the veil. It's harder to look deeper than the surface.
Oh, look deeper than the surface. Oh.
Regardless to the truth, I understand that there are many people that
find understanding for just plow on the gas pedal.
For that.
Oh, I'm Mr. Plow.
I have to be okay with the fact that people will be angry. Some for a long time.
Fucking
some forever.
Mr. Plow. Mr.
I
Plow.
think it was clear.
Mr. Plow. I'm putting it
With
up.
respects to
It's going on there. I'm sorry. I love you guys, but I've got to be stupid when I've got to be stupid.
Respond to those comments in anger either. I want to also say that it is not me that can take any pain away, replace what was lost, give back joy, happiness to so many other things that was lost that day. I think all that comes with belief in Christ. I believe that all that comes with time. It's a process.
I am so satisfied with myself right now. It's ridiculous.
It's a process that we all have to go through.
And you dragged us through it, man.
I know there's a lot of things that I've said over the duration of this trial where there's a lot of misconception. I don't consider myself to be a man of God yet. It's something that I'm learning with time, with faith, with study. Lord willing, I will make it to that point at God's appointed time. Something that I'm learning. For anyone that doesn't think that I've spent time in the scriptures even before this, you're mistaken. Passages were quoted from Romans 6:23 in particular.
Why are you still
the
fucking
wages of sin is
talking
death. That's Romans 6:23.
Seriously.
A verse I'm very familiar with and I've read numerous times.
Fuck.
Countless other passages are all passages that I'm familiar with. Think about scripture is not only studying and reading it, it's about applying it to your life, applying it. It's not about just reading it or being able to quote it, it's about living it. At times during this, doing all these proceedings, mostly trial, I've become frustrated at times. I want you, Your Honor, to know, I want the entire court to know that regardless to what you may think about those particular incidents, they were not personal. Being here throughout this year and the constant learning how to deal with everything, learning how to take everything in, what you see, what you hear, things being shouted at you, the threats and everything that you have to deal with just being here.
You mean like anybody who's on YouTube?
It was like a culmination. sometimes you get so frustrated
No, sometimes
because you
people
feel like
say
your hands are
so.
tied.
They
You
say
don't know what to do.
such
For a person like me, it's
terrible
easy for me to get
things.
to that point.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
And so it would come out in frustration.
No, yes,
I take
everybody's
responsibility for that and
frustrated.
apologize to
It's
you, Your
all
Honor, in court.
frustrated. It's all frustrated.
Nothing about it was personal.
We're all
It was a part of me that
frustrated.
felt
Oops.
that I haven't been able to defend myself. And I think it was just the pot boiling over. I was wrong for not being able to control myself the times that I wasn't me.
There we are!
It may be on a lousy channel, but The Simpsons are on TV.
Our driveway snowed in.
Old Man Winter!
That's right. I fill your driveways with ice and snow. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. That's what. Stop.
Mr. Plow!
Get out, you lousy season. All right, I'm going. My head hurts. I have to lie down for a while.
Yay!
Hello, I'm Mr. Plow. Are you tired of having your hands cut off by snow blowers and the inevitable heart attacks that come with shoveling snow? Then call Klondike 53226. Call now and receive a free T-shirt. He could still surprise you.
But I'm a real tightwad. Can I afford this remarkable system?
Absolutely. My prices are so low, you'll think I've suffered brain damage.
You are fully bonded and licensed by the city, aren't you, Mr. Plow?
Shut up, boy. So remember, call Mr. Plow. That's my name. That name again is Mr. Plow.
We apologize for the interruption. That commercial break.
For as long as I can remember, I've dealt with a lot of issues.
Wow, dude, are you, dude? How
Going back to
long
what I
is
said a little bit
he
earlier
stands up there talking
about
for? Hold on,
what people see on the surface.
2.5
A lot of people don't
hours.
understand what it is to battle mental health issues. Not just that, but the difficulties of life in general.
Yeah, yeah. Oh boy, isn't that?
The
Isn't that?
childhood I had,
Where's my tissues, buddy?
not
Where's
having a
my
father, having to
tissues?
see my mom sometimes work 2 and 3 jobs
I'm sure I've got. I'm
just to
sure
be able
I've
to support
got
us.
a tiny violin around here somewhere too.
I remember being a child and me and my sister, my mom only had 2 children.
What the
My
fuck?
sisters passed away. But I remember being a child and me and my sister and my mom standing in the welfare line to get milk, to get cheese.
Dude,
Bread,
come
spam.
on. All right, I'm about to just
When you're
skip
a
the
kid, you don't
rest
understand that. You
of
think
your entire thing, just because
Normal.
all you're doing is begging for self
I remember-
fucking pity.
living in apartment buildings infested with rodents and bugs.
Oh yeah. I had a roll too. And so
Pouring cereal in
you
your bowl
know,
having bugs in it.
no. So I run people
A
over.
lot of people
I had
weren't
a
raised like
bad
that, so it'd
childhood.
be hard for them to pull back that veil and understand.
Come on, dude. Give me something better than that.
Physical abuse by the people that are supposed to love you.
Okay, this is a
Trying to
field
understand why your mind thinks the way it
right?
does.
Like, save that for the
Why you don't
fucking
comprehend
field,
certain
dude.
things.
What the fuck are you doing? Are you really gonna do this for fucking 2 goddamn
Why no
hours?
one can provide the answers that you want.
I can't believe you, dude. Fuck, we're gonna have to.
Fact of the matter is, I have at times been medicated. I have been in mental health facilities, only for a short time.
You're guilty, dude. You did it.
I can honestly say that life was better. It helped.
You're Mr. Plow.
I think when you're going through something
I feel bad.
mentally that you don't understand, it always helps when you have people, not so much that can relate. That also helps, but it's more. It's not the relating part of it. It's more of the that you can feel comfortable being yourself with. Someone to listen. Someone to tell you that, hey, it's all right. You can't let your guard down.
Jesus Christ. Somebody help me.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and back to what I said
I'm
about
starting
truth.
to wonder if
People are going to, like I said,
I'm a little bit insensitive with my text there. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't have done. That might be a little bit much. I'm gonna turn it off, but not before I screen capture. Is this too much? I never know.
believe what they want, and that's okay. This needs to be said.
Oh,
What happened on November 21st, 2021 was not,
This
not,
needs to be what? This needs to be
not
seen?
an attack. It was not planned, plotted. When you constantly hear that, perpetuate, constantly pushed, constantly pushed, constantly pushed. You wonder why? Why? This was not an attack. This was not an intentional act. No matter how many times you say it over and over, it was not.
Oops. Oh shit. Ah. Yes, I did have to ask my wife. That was too much. My bad.
I have a lot of.
Might
This
have to edit that shit.
has nothing to do with
Uh-uh.
the victims, the families of the victims. And as a matter of fact, I'm grateful that they had the opportunity to voice their opinions and their frustrations and their angers, because I believe and hopefully that will alleviate some of the wounds. I could never point a finger at them and say they're wrong for what they said, their opinions, how you feel. Never. And I won't do it now, I won't do it ever. They're well within their rights to feel how they feel. I felt a lot of frustration and anger yesterday, not towards any of the victims. It was towards Miss Susan L. Opera. And I won't even throw shots back at her. Again, I choose to take the high road. In spite of the clear language that was used by her. Not gonna fire back. I'm not gonna do that. Am I angry? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So what? When it boils down to it, the whole prosecution team had a job to do. Can't be mad at somebody for doing their job. Attorney Daisy, Attorney Good job. I respect you guys. Regardless of what you may feel about me, I respect you guys. I really do. I respect you too, Attorney Opera. The difference between all you guys is You attorney out there, I don't respect how you did your job. And I never will. But I refuse to get into name calling. I refuse to raise my voice. I refuse to do any of that. And I realized that last night.
Name call. You don't get to refuse being name called. That happens.
Why it goes the way it goes. Had every intention to come in here and lay into you. Out of frustration and out of the fact of feeling that I needed to defend myself by some of the things you said. How you had the audacity to speak on situations that had nothing to do with this tragedy, as if you were there, as if you had intimate details, as if you knew everything that led up to those allegations. Just by reading the police report. I think every situation is unique in its own way. It all has different circumstances that leads to ultimately what ends up happening. Reading the police report doesn't give you the right to pass judgment on a situation that, frankly, is none of your concern.
Frankly, it's none of your concern. Are you fucking serious?
Honestly, you would think for someone that's been doing your job as long as you have, you would think you would understand that. You would think that you have some kind of integrity.
What? What? You think you have some kind of integrity?
Even with that, I'm not gonna bash. I'm not gonna say anything disrespectful. I'm not gonna call you.
You already did, you fucking jackass. It's like, what do you say? No disrespect, but you're a piece of shit. And that's actually totally disrespectful. And just because you say no disrespect before or after you say it does not negate the disrespect.
Ever be able to wrap my head around?
You disrespected the entire fucking system the entire time through your entire fucking trial, and now you're spending 2.5 hours on the. Oh my dear God!
Yeah, you needed a whole team.
Oh God!
Stay.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Staying out of the general population and getting put on suicide watch is probably the smartest thing you've fucking done this entire trial. Because if it wasn't for that, your ass would have been shredded. Shredded. And I mean asshole. They're not.
But you've done this.
I'm gonna say when I talk about the things that happen in general population, it's not all ass rape. It's not like, oh, everybody's fucking everybody in the ass. I'm sure it happens in some situations, but the reality is that you're in a tough crowd, and the tough crowd wants to know if you've got fucking respect built up inside. It's a respect kind of situation, but the only way that they're gonna find out if you've got any fucking gusto to put in the fucking pot to give you respect, you're gonna have to show yourself. And you show yourself too much, man, in these trials, man. And they're just gonna tear you to pieces because you've got nothing, dude. You've got nothing. You've got no internal respect. You treat everybody like they owe you fucking something, and it's just not gonna go anywhere. I'm sorry, you're fucking cooked, son. Again, I'm speculating. If you have any experience with general population in prison and or state fucking TDC, I've heard nightmares about TDC. All right, Texas or Texas District Correctional. I'm not sure what it is. I don't think it's a federal prison, but it's a hardcore ass jail. If you're going to jail, because jail and prison are two different things. I don't know if you guys know this. If you watch too much TV, then you don't know the difference between jail and prison. Oh, if you go to jail for a misdemeanor or uh, well, if you commit a felony, you're going to federal a federal prison is different than a state jail. Not by a whole lot, depending on how bad of the crime that you commit. You can go to city jail. Like, hey, fuck, I got too drunk and I talked some shit at the bar and they had to put me in the drunk tank. That's a city offense. It's a misdemeanor. You're gonna get out next day. Uh, Probably closer to noon than just because. It also depends on how uh, manageable you are. If you piss off the cops, okay. I've got a funny story for you. I was getting processed out of a jail, and it was me, the guy that I went in with, because we were both picked up for the same situation, and a third guy. The third guy farted when we were getting processed out. We were getting dressed. We had been handed all our stuff. The guy farted, and the officer said, "Actually, you know what? You're going back out. You're we'll process you later. You're not gonna fart in my fucking office." They don't fuck around. They don't fuck around. You fuck with them, they're going to play with whatever power they have. I don't know how much longer that guy spent. I never saw him again. I remember he had a yellow banana hammock for underwear that he barely got those on, and then he farted, and then he got sent out with his stuff. So who knows how much longer he stayed there. Yellow banana hammock. That's blasted into my mind. I'll never forget that shit.
31 years.
The point is, don't fuck with the CEOs.
I don't believe you're that right. Yet,
Did he say he was going to commit
having
suicide? I think he said he was going to commit suicide. Buddy. Or he did it
to take on something of
himself
this magnitude,
to make sure he did
for his
not
community.
go into general population
Can't do nothing but respect
because
that.
he knew they would fucking destroy his ass.
And regardless, when I leave this courtroom, I will have no ill feelings.
They don't like
Believe me.
people. They don't like people who are soft.
I know this is being
soft
live
sauce.
streamed.
Gonna get your ass.
I believe even in other countries. I've gotten some mail from Germany, Belgium.
Yeah, you
a lot of
should
hate
leave
mail.
the country.
Which doesn't. I stopped reading it months ago, so it doesn't really affect me. It's relevant. I do want to say something to everybody watching, as far as those who
Burn in hell,
take the
you
time,
piece of shit!
spend the energy and money to
Sayonara,
discriminate,
motherfucker!
not just against myself, but my family, my children.
Salud. Slanche.
I
Nas.
have no value.
Nas
in anything that you
Vidani.
say. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. Keep up the bad work.
Auf Wiedersehen.
To everyone else, the people that have sent letters of support, I thank you for that, because it's not an easy thing to show love and support to someone who's the most hated man on the planet at this point right now in time. It's not easy. It takes a lot of courage to do that. I thank you.
Are you touting your own? You're tooting your own fucking horn. Nice, dude. Great. I only ran over 60 fucking 70 fucking people. But I'm courageous because I fought.
Obviously, I think I should start with the obvious, Erica Patterson.
The fuck is wrong with you?
I want you to know, if you're watching, I always have love for you. You're one of the mothers of my children. I can never hate you. I refuse to go that route. Always have love for you. I always respect you. We got a beautiful daughter. I haven't always been right in the things that I've said, things I've done in regards to you. What I will say is, it always takes two.
Oh shit!
I pray that at some point You will reconcile with your children, and that you remember who I am here in my heart. That you remember that. My oldest son, who's an adult, his mother, beautiful, beautiful spirit. I thank her for the times that she was there to listen when no one else was, when I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on in life. And I was being pulled to this direction or that direction. And
dude, they're
just couldn't
going
figure
to
things out.
find inventive ways
She
to
would take the time to
make
sit and listen.
you hurt
And I thank her for
in
it.
prison. I love it.
Times where
Goodbye.
I had nowhere to go,
Goodbye.
she would find me in the back of
Have fun
abandoned
with your
cars
appeal.
or trucks or something of that nature, and she would
You've already been
do things to
like
help. You know, it's a lot of people,
strapped
a lot of good
to a
people out there
goddamn
still.
wheelchair.
She's one of them. I thank you, Angel. That's her name too, by the way.
Oh, we're gonna make an example. The judicial system
was
is going
all
to
over the place mentally,
make an example of.
couldn't sit still,
Have fun with that.
couldn't make decisions,
Thank you for all the content.
trying to figure out how life would go being young parents. Both
You
of us.
you were basically like
She never once judged
your
me. She
idiocy
never
was
once ridiculed
on the
me down
level of a
because my issue, she
Kardashian.
always was willing to be there. I'm eternally grateful for that. Jessica,
Your idiocy being on the level of a Kardashian is been one of the best gifts to the judicial system. They really get to make an example of you, son. Have fun with that. Have fun with General population. They're gonna take you off suicide watch. Oops. God damn it. No! Stop doing that.
and in the midst of that, you gave me my daughter, my baby girl.
Where?
Always get emotional
Yeah,
talking
give us
about her,
more
and
sob
particularly
stories, please. Yes, we need those. Because
she's such a
that
lovely
has
girl.
a whole lot
We're
to
very, very close.
do
Very close.
with. Yeah. Well, you know what? There's people that are missing their children today because you killed them!
I felt like when Missy was born, that was God giving me a
What's
chance
my
to make good on the
name?
mistakes I
It's
made with my other two
Mr.
children at the time.
Plow.
I felt like that was redemption.
I
For
still feel
everything
bad
that
about that.
I didn't do right before I had a chance to right that wrong. She's probably the single-handed reason why I'm even still breathing. She's such a light in my life, such a light.
Are you
She doesn't even
okay? So you're only
understand
concerned
and
about
stand
your
in
own
this.
ass.
She doesn't know
You're
what it is
not
not to be
talking
able to talk to
about
me
the
when she wants
victims
to.
at all. I mean,
To be able
you
to see me when she wants
may.
to.
Oh yeah, we all feel bad for the
She
victims.
just doesn't get it, and I
The
know that.
victims, the victims of not what happened, what you
And
did.
I'm mindful that
Fuck
there are
God!
people in this community that feel the
This is
same way.
killing me. Who is letting this fucking farce happen? You know what? You people in the fucking Northwest are too goddamn
Lights in their life.
polite. You don't stop somebody when they're fucking disrespecting. You're fucking disrespectful, Mr. fucking Brooks.
So without
You will stop your fucking
being sensitive to that, I'll move
bullshit
past that.
right now, and I will hold you in contempt.
My baby
Which,
girl, I love her.
at this point, we can fucking do because, you know, your trial's over. Fuck you. Fuck your piece of shit ass.
My baby boy
Burn in hell, you piece of shit.
was born in June during the time now being
Yes, I am an angry person, and I don't give a fuck.
his mother Quita.
I enjoy being angry. I enjoy being loud and obnoxious and opinionated as fuck. And this guy
not being
needs to
able to be
burn in fucking hell.
For the times that
For
both of them needed
fun.
me the most.
For fun. Because we like that.
It's not an easy thing for a woman to go through a pregnancy with virtually no help.
Well, oh, it's not easy. It's
Having
not
to
easy. Oh, no.
Move because of this tragedy. Not feeling safe while she was pregnant, not feeling safe, receiving threats.
Oh.
Things like that.
Oh, things like
And I wasn't
that.
there.
Make you sad and mad. And you
I know what it's like to be at the birth of
You,
your children.
you know what it's like to be run
See them
over?
born and
Let's
cut the
show.
umbilical cord and
Actually,
do all
you
those
know
things.
what?
I've done it.
That would be a great implementation to the
And not
justice
be able to do
system.
it for her
Is
or
you
for
get
him.
killed the same way that you killed other people. Yes. Yeah. You get hit by a fucking SUV from
So you
behind.
know what he looks like because of pictures.
March! March! March down the street! Your death
For
will
her
come when it happens.
to not feel safe to be in the city or be around my family members to build that rapport. Because she can't mentally deal with everything that comes with it. And for me to not be able to help her, for me to not have any words to uplift her. Her expressing her anger to me, not knowing how everything would go. It's hurtful. I want her to know. I believe God has a plan for everything. And
Yeah,
it's about doing the best you can inside of God's will. Say what you want about me. I'm not gonna walk away from my children. I refuse to walk away from my children. I love all four of you. And I won't stop for nothing, no matter what. A lot of reference yesterday was made about death. In reference to opinions towards myself. I do not fear death. Not one bit. I do not fear death because I'm in Christ. Whether we believe it or not, at some point we all have a date. Everyone on this planet has a date. The word says that it is appointed to man once to die.
Oh my Jesus Christ.
The way I see it is inevitable, so my fear, I'm 1,000,000% confident in where I'm going when this is all over. 1,000,000% confident. Regardless of what anyone thinks or says, I'm 1,000,000% confident in where I'm going. We all got to stand before the judgment seat of Christ at some point.
What do you think the fucking district attorney's office
Nobody's
has been
any better than
doing
the
the
next person.
entire time through your case? Dealing with your bullshit.
Contrary to belief, I do not feel like I'm above anyone. I don't feel like I'm superior to anyone. I breathe air, I drink water, I eat, I go to the bathroom, I bleed just like anyone else.
Can we address
No better.
subject matter jurisdiction, please? Mr. Brooks, can we just address
I'm a human
subject
being,
matter
not a monster.
jurisdiction? I think your subject matter is jurisdict fucked.
I'm a human being that's been trying to figure out for 35 years.
The 35 years?
Questions that I've never got the answer to.
Yeah, because you being a career criminal. I mean,
I noticed yesterday in a lot of
impregnating
victims'
14-year-olds.
a lot of the victims are
Dude, you're fucked, man.
going through
You're
the healing
fucked.
process.
Sayonara, son.
Believe it or not, I've prayed for all
Oh
victims and
yeah,
family members
boy, I bet you do.
for a year now to be able to make it through that process. But it is a process. It won't happen overnight. There was a big question of if I was paying attention, this, that, and the third.
Are you still fucking talking?
I definitely was paying attention.
All right.
And I heard in a lot of those
I can't
statements,
anymore. I mean,
people that were having their own mental health issues. Some recognizing what it was, others not so much. But that's what it was. A lot of things that you just can't quite wrap your head around. believe it or not, you were talking to someone that's dealt with those same types of questions for a long time. Questioning life itself. Questioning what's the point of being here? To go through all this pain, to go through all the doubts, feelings of inadequacy I can relate to firsthand.
Okay, so you basically just gave a
Being made
case
fun of, being joked
for
about,
your
jeered at, and
lack
bullied.
of
Growing up, I can relate to all of that because I've been through it.
empathy.
Not knowing if you even want to wake up after you go to sleep. I've been through that. Wondering if you'll even be missed when you're gone. The weirdest hours of the morning, just sitting up and just finding something to stare at. Hoping that an answer may just fall out of the sky on you.
Oh, Pamela Angel.
Me, myself, I've, like I said, raised Christian, but it's been so many times through the years that I've doubted God. It's time. I think everyone in this room can say that. If you believe, you've doubted, you've questioned, you've wondered. Been in situations that you just can't figure out why. How did I get here? What did I miss? What did I catch? What did I see? How did it ever get to this? How did it ever end up with this? At some point, we've all been in that position. Obviously, in my shoes, it's a little different. I said before, for the people that don't have any understanding, I can't sit here and be what people want me to be. We're all individuals. We all have our own ways of looking at things, and we all have our own personalities or whatnot. That's what makes us.
Hang on. I'm going to stop there because he just said, I can't be what you all want me to be, which is basically a basic member of society who doesn't kill people. He can't be that. Bye. Goodbye. Go away forever, please. Thank you. We don't want you here. You don't want to be with us, so we don't want you alive anymore.
Individualism. How one person may react to something, another person may feel the same exact way, but probably not react the same way. People can agree on certain things and still have a different approach.
Like slapping on the gas pedal in front of a crowd of people. Yeah, no, we can't agree on that.
All the victims yesterday that had the courage to speak and state their opinions and vent their frustrations and their anger and everything. I heard a lot of.
Somebody's like getting their Pop-Tart out of the fucking microwave. Like, God damn, I'm fucking hungry. You've been talking for way too long.
Showing people what they wanted to see. I just asked that there be understanding to.
People wanted to see people being ran down?
That there's a side out of the courtroom that's not seen.
What you talking about?
What's seen in the courtroom is just a small piece of the whole puzzle.
Yeah. The carnage was a lot more than what was seen in the courtroom.
Sitting in the courtroom.
Fuck you.
It's not a day. It's not an hour that goes by that I haven't thought about what's happened.
What's happened? What you did. What you did. What you did. Not what happened. What you did. Somebody clip off those fucking ears. Those little tiny fucking dwarf elf ears. Somebody just go ahead and take those off of him. Because he don't listen.
What was lost and in the fashion that it was lost. Contrary to what people may think.
To the pain. Take his eyes.
You get to a point though, and
and his
obviously it's different
nose and his mouth,
with me being in this position and people
and
being
let him sit
on the
there
other
and
side of the
hear
coin, so to speak.
people say,
It's a different position.
"Dear God,
On my end, you get to a point
what a horrible
to where
thing."
you're just tired. You get to a
Tired.
point where
Oh, I was tired.
you've cried all the tears you can cry.
I was
You've
tired.
prayed
I
all
was
the prayers you
tired,
can pray.
so
You never
my
stop
foot
praying,
hit
but
the gas pedal.
it's repetitive at this point.
You're petty.
You get to a point where
You're a piece of shit.
you're completely drained. You don't know what else you have to give.
You've been trained to run people down? How the fuck did that happen?
There was many court dates in the beginning of all these
Fucking court
proceedings.
dates? No.
I wasn't
You
even
wait.
sure if I could
Yes,
even come
yes,
into
yes.
courtroom
We all
without
know
breaking
that
down.
you wasted enough of our time
It was
in
times
court.
where I didn't even
We
feel like I was going
want
to make
to.
it through a court proceeding. When I did have representation, it was times where I told my representation, no, I don't. And that wasn't because I just didn't want to come in the courtroom. It was because mentally I could not handle it. I couldn't.
You know what? He's taking too long. Let me just hit the gas pedal and run him over to get him out
Having
of
to
the
be
way.
prepped for everything that I was going to walk into. Them telling me, you know, it's going to be this kind of atmosphere and expect this and expect this. And it's just like, wow. How am I going to do this?
Who the fuck are you talking to?
I want everyone to know, though, when you walk out of the courtroom, the cameras aren't rolling anymore.
Me.
You don't have the world looking at you anymore.
My. It's all about you. It's all about you.
That's when you can feel like you're human.
Everything is about
When
you.
you can, go back to your cell, drop your tears, pray, punch your mat if you're frustrated,
Fuck you.
sleep it off, whatever you may choose to do. And I wonder how things would be different if the cameras was rolling then. When we remove all this courtroom, how would it be viewed?
Somehow, this guy
We all
fucking thinks
done things in our life that we regret, that we're not proud.
that it was the optics. He thinks that he was right in his presentations all along. And he thinks that it was the way that it was presented, that there's some skewed view that made it all not his fault. Fucking narcissist. Fucking ass.
Proud of that we don't know what we were thinking. That's been like a roller coaster for me in this year, a roller coaster.
That was.
And obviously, just everyday life. Some days are better than others. That's just life in general. Some days are just better than other days.
What? No, that's not how life works. Jackass.
You heard my best friend speak a little bit earlier.
I'm gonna stop it again. You jackass. You're up against people who spend their lives working every day on their craft. And their craft is to incriminate criminals. Well, you think they just wake up and jerk off every fucking day and just hang out and then all of a sudden just make cases against people who are not guilty of shit? What the fuck? What the fuck are you even talking about, dude? What the fuck? You said I have no intention of disrespecting this court, but you've disrespected literally every office of the court through your proceedings. You piece of shit. I'm completely fucking flustered, man. Kudos to the fucking teams that dealt with this fuck. Dude, the judge, the the prosecution, I just the patience shown to this piece of shit is outrageous.
About, I guess it would be more happier times, but even then, you put on a smile to hide the pain. long before November 21st, 2021, long before that day, I was struggling. Long before.
So I was struggling. Oh, girl,
From the
that
head inside,
justifies those who
then feeling hopeful,
dying.
then feeling depressed,
It's not hopeful.
then feeling happy, then feeling upset. Just
Oh, if you're
up and down, up
happy,
and down, up and
if
down,
you're
up and down.
happy, if you're happy. Oh, I'm not
90% of the time, not
happy.
even knowing
I'm not happy, so
Why is it going
I'm Mr. Plow. That's my name.
So I
My
think
name again. That's Mr.
do a lot
Plow.
of things to numb that. Some
Fuck
people
you, piece of shit.
have different things that
Burn in
some people
hell.
turn to drugs, some people turn to alcohol, some people turn to many different things. Some people isolate themselves, some people, however you deal with it, it's how you deal with it. At that point in my life, I chose to put up a front. No one seen me for how I truly felt, and there would be no questions. You see someone and they always have an upbeat appearance, seem to be smiling, seem to be in a joyful mood. There's no reason to like, what is there a question? How much turmoil could it be?
Oh, I'm a victim. I
First thing
was
they say
always
every time I
born
see
a victim, and I'll always be a victim
not okay.
for every day of my life. Yeah, whoa. Fuck off, dude.
But I do believe one thing though. As long as you have breath in your body, what you're going through, where you may be, what struggles you have, what you can't figure out.
What?
You have to
fuck
find
are you
a way
talking
to press forward. You have to keep faith, and you have to press forward. I think the Apostle Paul said it best. The Apostle Paul said it best when he said, "One thing I do, forgetting what's behind me, and straining toward the upper court, of which Christ has taken a hold of him."
What the fuck does this have to do with
Straining forward.
anything, man?
Acknowledging that it's difficult. Acknowledging that there'll be opposition, there'll be hurdles to jump, there'll be mountains to climb. It's not going to be easy. Acknowledging that by saying straining.
Dude, you're painful to watch, man.
To move forward.
Painful.
Pertaining to remorse, it wasn't mockery, it wasn't.
Why are we? I don't want to hear your life story, dude.
What can give you the help you need? Who
Talk about
can
impact
point you in the
statements.
direction to get the help you need? I don't have a mind that's jumping back and forth and all over the place, and these moves, they go from here to here to here to here to here to here to here, and then it's like, oh, cool. And then it's here to here to here to here. I want to get to a place where I can.
Dude, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man. Come on. Give me something.
I think it should be. What you said. What was the term you used?
The extended supervision term, or consecutive versus concurrent?
Yeah. The concurrent.
Right. Serving sentences at the same time versus consecutive, one after the other.
The fuck over with.
And some of the things that really impacted me throughout that time and throughout the nearly 4 weeks of trial. Then I will spend some time talking about the victims, their victim impact statements, and again, things that have stood out here to me. I cannot comment on all of the victim statements that have been made.
Let's
that I
go.
want to highlight. And then ultimately, go through the sentencing factors. Because all of these things I'm going to talk about relate to those factors, which in Wisconsin there are 3 primary factors: the seriousness of the offense, the need to protect the public, and the character and rehabilitative needs of the defendant. So I want to start sort of near the end of all of the remarks over the last couple of days, and that is with my thoughts on Mr. Brooks and his mental health. I'm not here to debate that you have a history over time of intersecting with the mental health agencies.
What?
And
I have
that
to
you may have
listen
a
to what you
history
have
of
to
trauma,
say about me?
emotional pain, and things of that nature. I have read through not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 reports from experts, people who are well known in this field of what we call forensic psychology and psychiatry, individuals who have an expertise in evaluating a plea of not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. Because I don't want there to be any doubt in my sentencing here today that I've considered that. But I also don't want there to be any doubt that somehow this trial was missing something. Because the fact is, Mr. Brooks entered a special plea of not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect in the early summer, maybe late spring of this year. And this court ordered 3 court-ordered evaluations, and the state retained an expert to also review the issue. Whether the defense team at that point ever hired anyone, they are not required to disclose that. I don't know. But I have 4 well-known doctors who have written this court based upon the orders that were made or the person.
I really like this judge. Even though she's so thorough that it's painful, but she is thorough and polite about everything that she does. Um, I, if you spend any time looking at judges in Texas and dealing with these kinds of people, they have zero patience. I'm not sure if it's good or bad for her, but I have a lot of appreciation for her. You know, she's really trying, she's trying her ass off to do the best that she can to manage this fucked up fucking situation trial. Also, she's hot.
One doctor being retained. And these are reports that are thorough. One report is 24 pages, another is more of a summary, it's 8 pages, another is 26 pages, and then another is 12. And they look at the discovery information, so police reports, videographic evidence, things of that nature. They have access to any mental health related records from prior stays or things like that. They look at a history, they meet with Mr. Brooks. I've referenced this in the past when competency wasn't so much raised by any of the parties here, but during the trial there was, as Attorney Opper wanted to make a record one day of Mr. Brooks's competency. And I will restate what I stated at that point. I have absolutely no doubt that Mr. Brooks is competent. I'm obviously well versed in the legal standard, but that is not something that this court was frankly ever concerned about at any point in time. I know that his attorneys, when he had attorneys, never raised the issue. And it was really only after the trial began that issue was raised, I think, by the public based upon what they saw. But Attorney Opper and myself had the benefit of having reviewed each and every one of those examinations. And I'm not just saying
Wait.
Because it goes also to Mr.
The court found you completely competent. But what they found was that the internet, people who watched you, thought you were mentally incompetent. That's fucking funny as fuck. Oh. Yeah. Put that guy on suicide watch.
Mr. Brooks's character, which is one of the things that this court must consider along with his rehabilitative needs. And I'm going to read parts of these evaluations so that you all understand the information that I have and why it is my opinion that mental health issues did not cause him to do what he did on November 21 of 2021 and frankly did not play a role. That's not to say that he wasn't diagnosed with something. I've referenced this previously, but that's an antisocial personality disorder. And this is what one of the reports has to say. They've looked at one doctor indicated that there was available evidence to sustain a diagnosis of cannabis abuse, intoxication, antisocial personality disorder, adjustment disorder with mixed disturbance of emotions and conduct. The reports go on to describe what those things are and that they may qualify as an abnormal condition of the mind substantially affecting mental or emotional processes and thus as a mental disease or defect as broadly defined by the Wisconsin jury instructions. And that's at least as to the adjustment disorder. Cannabis abuse or intoxication would not. The diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder, and this is what the doctor said, reflects convergent support of an underlying characterological disorder versus a major mental illness. In Mr. Brooks's case, I would note his history of disregarding the rights of others and conforming to societal norms, including in the forms of multiple acts of violence beginning in his youth, contact with the criminal justice system, lack of remorse as indicated by being indifferent, rationalizing, etc. The doctor goes on that it's her understanding that this characterological condition would not qualify as a mental disease or defect, as defined by the applicable statute, which also specifies that mental disease or defect does not include an abnormality manifested only by repeated criminal or otherwise antisocial conduct. Goes on to talk about her opinion regarding criminal non-responsibility. And the examiner rendered an opinion to a reasonable degree of professional certainty that there was not support for the defendant's special plea, that the facts at hand do not sustain a conclusion to a reasonable degree of professional certainty that because of symptoms of a mental disease or defect, Mr. Brooks was rendered to lack substantial capacity either to appreciate the wrongfulness of the alleged misconduct or conform his conduct to the requirements of the law at the time in question. In arriving at this opinion, the following considerations were significant to this examiner. While acknowledging Mr. Brooks' documented history of episodic contacts with mental health professionals beginning in adolescence, most of the time he has had such contacts or received mental health treatment when in custody. In effect, there is not a sustained, documented history of a diagnosed major mental illness for him predating the alleged offense or otherwise. Look at a psychiatric review from April of 2010. At that point, the defendant was determined to have no medically determinable impairment on which to qualify for disability benefits. The consultant who conducted the review noted that Mr. Brooks' claimed mental illness was not, quote, well established, quote, that the statements that he made at that point were not deemed credible, they were inconsistent and not verified by treatment providers in the community. Factor number 2, the defendant's history of violence beginning years predating the alleged offense is significant. He faced multiple prior domestic-related charges. He was not permitted in his mother's home because of the history of violence. To be sure, the magnitude and lethality of Mr. Brooks' violence in the commission of the alleged offenses is more severe than what was previously known. However, the defendant's history of a pattern of violent behavior, coupled with other aspects of his history, and in this case, strongly suggests that his mental state, which produced the alleged offenses, was most fundamentally formed and fueled by contributions of his underlying characterological dysfunction, anger, and rage born of his conflict with his girlfriend moments before the Christmas parade tragedy. The examiner considered Mr. Brooks's episodic endorsement of auditory hallucinations.
Okay, again, I'm not a lawyer, but if anybody pops in here who is a lawyer, is it normal for a judge to give contradictory statements for impact statements from a victim? I mean, I'm not faulting her for this. I think this is awesome. She's like saying all the shit you said is basically bullshit. All these questions that you've thrown up are irrelevant because you did what you did and you're being sentenced for what you did and has been proven on law with with subject matter jurisdiction and all that stuff. I this is this is I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but maybe this seems extremely thorough as a correction from a judge. I don't know for sure because I've never been at this level. But it seems right up fucking his alley, dude.
Including a clinical interview with the undersigned, meaning the examiner, and in a couple of recorded jail phone calls subsequent to his arrest. She said this: I am unaware of any objective corroboration that he presented, either in the hours leading up to or following the alleged offenses, as internally preoccupied or otherwise exhibiting signs of impaired reality, contact, or behavioral discontrol. To the contrary, the defendant's conduct within hours of the onset and moments following the alleged misconduct was organized, controlled, and purposeful. Moreover, he demonstrated the motivation and capacity to take efforts to evade detection and try to flee the immediate area of the parade carnage. She went on, I have considered the seemingly inexplicable nature and magnitude of the violence and mayhem wrought by the defendant's conduct on the day in question. He has caused 6 deaths, dozens of injuries, and terrorized hundreds of parade participants and thousands of spectators. There is no indication in the extensive compilation of records and other information available that at the time of the alleged misconduct, he lacked substantial capacity to either control or conform his conduct to the requirements of the law, or that his reality contact capacity to appreciate wrongfulness was substantially impaired. In the context of rage born of his conflict and altercation with his former girlfriend, Turmoil, the defendant was disinclined to control his behavior or attend to its consequences. Notwithstanding the magnitude of the violence in this case, a mental disease or defect is not defined by the unnaturalness or enormity of the act. Moreover, temporary passion or frenzy prompted by revenge, hatred, jealousy, envy, or the like does not constitute a mental disease or defect. She goes on to talk about the course of functioning of Mr. Brooks during the day leading up to the alleged offense. Does not suggest that he was behaviorally dysregulated or that his reality contact was impaired.
All your
goes on to talk about what he did in the immediate aftermath of the parade, including fleeing the vicinity, making efforts to evade detection or responsibility.
It's basically irrelevant.
Went on to discuss other evidence, including
did he do it?
Evidence of the Ring doorbell and being on the porch where he sought to use the phone. He had apparently discarded a couple of small bags later determined to contain marijuana, and presumably, this is the examiner again, he discarded items to evade responsibility for possessing them. By implication, such conduct strongly suggests his capacity to appreciate wrongfulness was then intact. When responding to law enforcement officials, he followed their commands. He lowered himself to the ground. We saw that on recording of his arrest when he was taken into custody and detained. None of the behaviors nor verbal remarks at the time of the arrest suggest he was behaviorally dysregulated or that his reality contact was impaired. Following his arrest and being taken into custody, he engaged in an informal series of verbal exchanges with authorities. None of the statements taken at face value suggest he was then actively psychotic or that his behavior controls were substantially impaired. She then goes on to talk about.
I got to point out what she's referencing is him talking about sports. The arresting officers kept talking to him about, this team, they were playing a game, ball game or whatever the fuck it was, with, I don't know if it was football or fucking baseball, but he knew exactly where he was. He knew exactly what day it was. He knew everything that was going. He was not incoherent as somebody who is mentally incapacitated might be. No. He knew where he was. He knew what he was doing.
Mirandai statements. This court personally watched every minute of that interaction with Detective Carpenter and Detective Stern, along with the one from the night before, which was at the hospital within hours. And I would
Exactly.
concur with the examiner's conclusions that the content of his initial
100%.
statements to authorities
Go
included
here.
multiple efforts to
He knew
deceive or mislead.
exactly
He
who
changed his
he
story multiple
was,
times, including he
where
initially
he
denied being
was,
in
what
Waukesha
he
the
was
prior
doing.
Saturday. He initially asserted he traveled to Waukesha on the day in question in a tan Kia with a friend. He initially asserted his mother did not own a vehicle, but later acknowledged as much, and that he used it from time to time. Other changes in his story over the course of his statements and the nature of them further suggest that he was making active attempts to evade detection or responsibility. By implication, such behavior strongly suggests that his reality contact was then intact.
Yes.
When he was shown photographs of driving in the SUV into the parade route, he indicated it was not him. And this is again the examiner. With the police, she's noting the police contact. It was not until Mr. Brooks was in the booking area of the Waukesha County Jail that he
Hey,
displayed
Hammer,
some
if you're
emotion
still
when he
here,
was told
I
to leave the concern,
totally agree.
Where he
She
said,
is
I didn't
fucking
mean to
awesome.
kill nobody. Such a remark indicates an awareness of the consequences of his actions and runs counter to a conclusion of
Painstakingly thorough, but
There's other
amazing.
criteria or other factors. I'm not going to read them all. That was probably one of the more comprehensive
I
explanations
love
why
that
that
she's
examiner
so
did not conclude that there was support for the special
patient
plea of
and
not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. All four examiners shared similar observations. Certainly their conclusions were that there was not support for the special plea. One examiner talked about, again, conduct after driving through the parade, abandoning the vehicle.
She's so courteous.
Altering his appearance by removing his outer layer of clothing, altering how he was wearing his hair, and then engaging in further efforts to leave the scene by securing transportation via a ride-sharing application. This particular examiner went on to say, while he essentially, meaning Mr. Brooks, disclaimed any memory.
That actually warrants some discussion. What you had to say, Hammer. I hope you're still here, but you are so right, so courteous, so eloquent, and thorough with explaining the law every fucking time to this jackass who didn't deserve it. She has been amazing. Amazing. I would say I kind of like Texas judges a little bit better because they have like a no nonsense kind of thing going on a little bit, which is awesome. Also, I do love a judge exercising their authority in the most. I love watching judges exercise their authority. She is doing a great job. She is she's hot. She's I don't know, man. There's a lot of cool things about this judge. I like her. I like her. Courteous, explanatory, even to the point where it's beyond what the person deserves. But yeah, 100%. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. She's so good. She's like she's almost too good.
Of those actions and could therefore not explain them. Such behavior strongly suggests an awareness of wrongdoing and a desire to avoid detection. Another examiner had very similar things: antisocial personality disorder with borderline features, alcohol cannabis use disorder, full remission, and controlled environment.
She's still nailing him.
What's interesting about
she's
this particular
going to be
report
so thorough.
Is the description
she's
of an
going to
antisocial personality
reduce.
disorder. The DSM-5 defines antisocial personality disorder as a pervasive pattern of disregard for a violation of the rights of others occurring since age 15 years, as indicated by 3 or more of the following: failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors, as indicated by repeated performing acts that are grounds for arrest. 2, deceitfulness, as indicated by repeated lying, use of aliases, or conning others for personal profit or pleasure. 3, impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. 4, irritability and aggressiveness, as indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. 5, reckless disregard for safety of self and others. 6, consistent irresponsibility, as indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor financial obligations. 7, lack of remorse, as indicated by being indifferent to or rationalizing having hurt, mistreated, or stolen from another. In addition, the individual is at least 18 years old and there's evidence of a conduct disorder prior to the age of 15. This examiner noted Mr. Brooks meets nearly all of the symptoms described above because he has exhibited a long-term maladaptive pattern of behavior involving a disregard for and violation of the rights of others, beginning in childhood and continuing through adult life. The borderline features reflect a general inability to sustain healthy relationships with others, including his domestically violent relationship with victim PPP. That examiner goes on with further analysis and conclusions, again finding that there's not support. The last examiner, again, made similar conclusions, also diagnosing Mr. Brooks with an antisocial personality disorder. Why is that important? There is no doubt that in our criminal justice system today, we face the crises of the mentally ill intersecting in our courts. In the last year and a half alone, this court has ordered many competency evaluations, presided over a number of contested competency hearings, and ordered many evaluations for the special plea of not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. And the bottom line is, for this court, Mr. Brooks does not present as a person who is either not competent or not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. It is frankly heartbreaking to see those individuals who truly suffer from schizophrenia, for example, intersect in our criminal justice system. Sometimes they do unspeakable things. They hurt other people. I'm thinking of one such gentleman who was so schizophrenic and out of control, he couldn't even be kept in the courtroom. He was too loud. He clearly, if you've ever been in the room with someone who is suffering from auditory or visual hallucinations, it is not something you can easily forget. It makes an impression even on someone who's not an MD or a doctorate level psychologist. I've been in the room.
Dude, she's literally telling him that people who are not capable of doing what, like when you're, the mental illness situation. She is literally nailing him for all of that by saying that people who come into the court that truly have real mental illness are not, that we can't even deal with them. Even beyond you, you piece of, this is grandma. This is grandma's raising, man. It hurts. It hurts to see this because I see it too much.
Who was when I did defense work, and he was accused of killing someone near and dear to him. It's a very, very different presentation. It's heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching. Do the mentally ill sometimes commit atrocious crimes? They do. This is not one of those situations.
Yes.
We've heard Mr. Brooks's family talk about mental illness and bipolar. In addition, before I get to that, I've also had, over my 11 years on the bench, of coming face to face with evil on occasion. There are many times, good people do bad things, but there are times when evil people do bad things. There is no medication or treatment for a heart that is bent on evil. Child trauma, bipolar, indifference, physical abuse of a child, or even childhood trauma did not cause Darrell Brooks to commit the acts for which he will be sentenced here today. It is very clear to this court that he understands the difference between right and wrong, and that he simply chooses to ignore his conscience. He is fueled by anger and rage. Some people, unfortunately, choose a path of evil, and I think, Mr. Brooks, you are one of those such persons. As a mom, my heart breaks for your family, for your mom, and for your grandmother. The son that she raised, the grandson that your grandmother knew, the hopes and dreams they had for your life, they're gone. And I think it's perhaps far easier for them to blame a mental illness than to perhaps come to grips with their son did very, very bad things, due to very bad motivations. One of the things, ultimately, that will happen when you are in prison, sir, is that the Department of Corrections, they are statutorily responsible for your care and your well-being, including your mental health. I do not have any authority to dictate to them where you go or how they treat you. That is far different than when there is support for a plea of not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect, because then the court has available what is called treatment facilities and a commitment to such a treatment facility. That is something that is simply not on the table. And again, 4 evaluations, not even my own assessment, but 4 evaluations from licensed professionals say otherwise. Even in the face of your family saying that, even in the face of you claiming that. I'm not even here to say that some of those things can't coexist, and you might not have some of your own mental health issues, whether it be bipolar, childhood trauma, or things of that nature. But the bottom line is none of that caused you to do what you did on November 21 of 2021. I want to next turn to the trial in this case. I think it's important that the sentence here today focuses on your conduct on November 21 of 2021 and the moments leading up to that tragic and fateful decision of yours to drive through the Waukesha Christmas Parade, and of course the moments after. I, of course, through my sentencing remarks and ultimately what I do here today, I can't answer all of the questions. I can't address all of the issues, including the why. Perhaps the one question that will remain unanswered. Why? Why did you barrel down White Rock Avenue? Why did you not stop? Why did you keep going? Many of us in this courtroom sat through the entire trial. And what we learned is that very early on in the afternoon of November 21, starting at around 1 p.m., the police got ready for the parade. The staging area was set up.
Oh, this looks good. This looks good. I'm sorry to pause it. I appreciate you hanging out, Hammer. I just want to say, it was probably smart of him. Well, okay, I can't decide whether it was the COs, correctional officers, that said, "Hey, he said he wanted to commit suicide, right?" Yeah, he said he wanted to commit suicide. So they fucking, I don't know if you know what happens in prison or jail when you're on suicide watch, but they take everything and they isolate you heavily. I can't decide if it was the COs that did that to fuck with him because they don't like him because he's difficult to deal with, or if it was a smart move on his end to keep himself out of general population. Because my 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 experience or my understanding with, like, I've been I spent like a week in jail, um but I learned a lot about how the system works. TDC, Texas, uh detentional corrective facility is not it's not a prison, but you get treated like you're in prison, right? Um, uh, Jail versus prison, you get treated a lot differently. But if you go into general population, this guy, dude, like respect is a big thing in general population. I mean, the way you carry yourself, the way that you act, it's not. People say, "Oh, you got to fight somebody," or on the first day. It's not really like that. But boy, you better be a fucking respectable ass person in prison. It's fucking weird, you know. They Your word is your bond. If you fucking lie, if you fuck up, if you they're gonna fuck you up. He's been trouncing all over people, all over this trial. And oh, also the fact that he fucking knocked up a 14-year-old, he's in prison. Stay out of general population if you can. Probably not the best place to be if you don't want to get fucked up. They they prison has a way of punishing the prisoners inside.
All along White Rock Avenue. Signs were put in place. Ultimately, barricades were put up at a number of locations on Main Street and surrounding that. We know, because we heard from Sergeant Warner about what he had done. He had, right before the start of the parade, had driven down the parade route. It was on his shoulders, his responsibility to make sure everything was safe and in order. What's important about that staging area is we know that is where the altercation with Erica Patterson really came to a head. We all watched that video, multiple videos. And we know that even before that, you appeared angry and upset. Two individuals testified about you being at that mobile gas station, how you turned the wrong way on a one-way street, waved your hands in the air, rolled down your window, either exchanged gestures or words with one of the drivers, perhaps 30 minutes or so before the start of the parade, maybe an hour or so before you drove down the parade route.
I love this job.
But what's important is the signage. Even you, at one point, I believe when you were talking with Detective Carpenter, noted, it was my words, my assessment, it was clear something was going on. I think what you said was a lot of shit was blocked off. You'd driven past those signs on the staging area. The fact remains they were there, sir. The fact remains is you told Detective Carpenter that.
I know I'm gonna spend up, but
the other,
see that?
we then heard from
he reacted to that like a motherfucker.
the witnesses related to Ms. Patterson. We heard from Corey Runkle. We heard from Erica Patterson herself. My impression, based upon Erica Patterson's testimony, by the way, she showed grace and dignity facing you, the man who clearly has no regard for her as a mother of one of your children, as someone you had a domestic partnership with and relationship with at one point. We know that this goes to your character, what was shown through that altercation and going up the hill, following her, slapping her. You know, the rules don't matter to you, not the rules of the road, not the rules established by court orders, not the rules even of decorum and decency. And I'll get to this more fully when I talk about your character. And I know you went hard at Attorney Hopper for her bringing these things up, but those are legitimate, lawful sentencing considerations. And when I get to that point, I'll tell you the case law that supports that. Your character, even your pending cases.
Dude, you're
we know at the time
burnt.
of all of this,
You're
you know,
burnt.
felony cases, one involving a handgun, one involving the same vehicle in Erica Patterson, and one involving ultimately intimidation of Ms. Patterson. We know that on November 20th, and just very contrite about this, she told you where she was, she invited you out there, and that you had contact with her on the 20th, there was some physical. Mr. Brooks, this is my time, you need to not interrupt.
What?
You need to stop.
Specifically wrote you, Your Honor, and said that they know it was no incident that day.
Mr.
Now you
Brooks,
want to sit up here.
do not interrupt me or you will be
Are you
removed from the
Now
other
you want
serious?
to sit up here.
Really?
Stop
And try
now.
to add something in that you know for a fact never even happened. You want to sit up
Mr.
here and
Brooks,
talk about
every
who has
time-
grace and all this. You talking about someone with 5 kids that don't have
You
custody.
need to stop right now or you will be removed.
Remove me then.
All right, he will be removed. He cannot simply stay
I don't
quiet in
consent
this
to
court
this.
process.
Anyway, I don't consent to this. Just like I told you. I don't know the.
You can't recess
I don't
until
even
it's
understand the true nature of cause.
I know I'm late on this. I was so excited about this, and I delayed it for a few days. I'm sorry I did. Oh my god. I was like, there's no way just a sentencing can go
He's not making that
off
pledge
the
in Illinois
rails,
versus Alabama
right?
unless he makes that pledge. He's not coming back into this courtroom. You are not.
I was so wrong.
right, clearly he's going to keep repeating that statement. So I have muted
obviously
him
a
at this point.
sentencing can
Was
go
nothing that he would
way the fuck off the
simple
rails.
rule of courtesy and decorum that he show respect to this court, to these proceedings, and not interrupt and talk over me, but that clearly is something he is unwilling or unable to do. I'll find my note that I wrote later.
I'll find my notes
It had
later.
to do
Like
with,
you.
frankly, what this court has observed as a pattern with Mr. Brooks, and that is when testimony or statements by the court or statements by the prosecution team become unfavorable to him, he lashes out and he disrupts. And that has been borne out time after time after time during this trial. So let me go through and pick up where I left off about the trial. I'm not going to go through everything in detail, but I think it's important that I set the stage, right, and the basis for my sentencing. One of the things that I did note regarding Erica Patterson's testimony, because frankly I wasn't sure where Mr. Brooks was going to go with his own defense, based on some of the remarks he made during his opening statement, which was actually later, but I guess I'll go back to my review of his recorded interview and some of the things that he tried to say, and at least it became apparent, ultimately, with the way he cross-examined witnesses. I wasn't sure if he would claim perhaps someone else was in the vehicle, he was afraid of police, the tinting of the windows, some of those things. Here's where it frankly doesn't matter. Okay, Eric Patterson provided key testimony in this regard, that there was no one else in the vehicle with Mr. Brooks. And I'm aware that he wants to come back, but until he writes me a pledge that he will not interrupt me under Illinois versus Allen, he's not coming back in this courtroom. I'm not. He's my remarks. And unless he makes that pledge to me in writing, he's not coming back in. One of the things I tried to do in my preparation, and let me tell you, I reviewed all of my notes from this trial. I have, I think, 9 notepads. I looked at just a couple of exhibits, but primarily the map, Exhibit 15. I really wanted to determine for myself how long this carnage took. We know the distance, right?
God.
From at least where he entered.
Have you ever seen this, Hammer?
Screen up, will you?
I'm just watching this for the first time. I try to.
We know he entered.
I wanted to react
from
to
White
it,
Rock,
you know.
where the first star is on the right side.
And to react to it, I had to watch it for the first time, right? So I held,
so we know
I
he
held
goes 1, 2, 3
off
blocks
for a
before
day. But
striking
have you,
anyone.
if you've seen this shit, man,
And then it's really
holy
about 5
fuck.
blocks of what can only be described as chaos and carnage. We know we have from the evidence and the testimony 2 different speed calculations.
So did not expect
One
this.
from Bosco's, that was the surveillance footage, between 33 and 34.5 miles per hour. And then we have one farther down from the footage from Curry Insurance, where it's average 32 miles per hour. Now, I acknowledge math is not my strong suit. I did not do a calculation. But I don't think it took very long for all of this to happen. I think it was a matter of minutes. I think 5 minutes would even be far too long. It's probably 3, maybe.
I
And
really
it was somewhat
thought,
hard to gauge during the trial because of how the state presented it as a criticism. But
crazy can a
showing
sentencing
video,
get,
breaking
right?
it down, showing it at half
But
speed,
then again,
sometimes
it's
30%
been Darrell
speed,
Brooks.
to really get
So-
an understanding of what was happening. And at no point did anyone ever
I kind
tell
of
me or tell the jury how long this took.
had an idea that
But
maybe
even though it took
we
just a
would
couple of
go
minutes,
off the rails.
there were so many opportunities for Mr. Brooks to simply stop, turn around, turn down other streets before he ever crossed Barstow Avenue. And what we
Get
know
your Bible,
is
son.
that at 4:37, Detective
Pull out
Collins
your Bible.
first
There you
police
go.
encounter with Darrell Brooks came face to face.
Oh man,
Detective Casey at the hood of the car.
this has been
and eye to eye.
nuts.
The SUV brushed past him. And here's the thing: Detective Casey said he wasn't going very fast. To me, that tells me he had ample time to reflect about what he was about to do. If you look on that map,
Why are you presenting it? Hey, you know what? Where's the judge go to the judge that says, "Hey, it's not your time to present evidence. We've already been here. We've already done this. It's over. It's over. He's fucked. Just fuck him. Will you just send the fuck away for forever,
I
please?
know I read
Already?
in the other act's motion
Let's go.
that Mr. Brooks claimed at one point he was having a panic attack, and again, maybe I think he was going to claim at some point he was afraid of police. Why drive toward them? Why take that right turn?
What the fuck is he doing now?
There's no reasonable explanation other than he was angry, he was full of rage, and he didn't care who he came in contact with, what he came in contact with, whether he drove past, through, at. He drove. Detective Casey pounded on the hood of that car, saw his face, again, brushed by that SUV, thankfully not hurt. All of this preceded by the visual signs along White Rock Avenue of the staging of this parade. Floats, bands, banners, signs, people. And as you got closer to Main Street, the spectators lining those streets, which both, I believe, Detective Casey and Sergeant Bonner said were thousands of people. Before he ever gets to Barstow Avenue, he comes in contact with, after Detective Casey, Officer Buttrin, and Officer Schneider. He has an opportunity, if you look at this map, he could go right on Buckley. Again, there might be police, there might be barricades. He simply stopped. He asked, "Can I get out?" No doubt in my mind, any police officer there would have done just that. He could have gone.
I feel like it's unprecedented that the judge is really reviewing the whole goddamn thing just to dispute his fucking arguments so that she can sentence his ass to fucking
left on Northeast
several
Avenue.
life
Continuing down,
sentences,
he could have gone
hopefully.
left on Martin Street. Continuing on, Barstow Avenue. This is where the parade participants, unfortunately, he has contact with them. He could have gone right on Barstow. He could have gone left on Barstow. And we know from some footage that we saw that his car was seen flying past, true, not hitting one at this point, but flying past. There's no logical understanding for Mr. Brooks other than he's in the middle of a parade. He can see them. Anyone driving a vehicle would see what's ahead. And we know from this map, right, what was ahead of him. We saw that video footage. We heard the testimony. Many police vehicles at these intersections with their lights flashing. There's no doubt in my mind that Mr. Brooks would understand a parade was going on. You can turn off my monitor, thank you. We also know it was not yet dark. Dusk. This was from the battalion chief, who talked about when he arrived after that first alert at 4:39, it was not yet dark, it was dusk. I think that aids to the visibility that Mr. Brooks would have seen all of these people. This is not under cover of night. It's, of course, downtown Waukesha. We saw city lights in many of the street lights I'm referring to in many of the videos as well that would have been on or coming on.
I've dealt with judges before, man. This is the
We know
most
just half
patient
Barstow.
judge I've ever
He
seen in
strikes
my
his first
life.
victim, Nicole White. She was with Remax Services with the hot air balloon. Anyone's seen that? We saw it in the video. That is unmistakable what that is. That would get anyone's attention. If this was a mistake, if he was lost, this was his very first opportunity to stop and do the right thing after causing injury to a person. But he didn't. He did not stop. And then, of course, it's hard not to think about what I watched and not have this reaction.
It's hard not to watch that camera where he's like
And I saw over and over and over. For their band director, she's a hero to me. To get up on the stand, to talk about, and that was Sarah Waymeyer, our Parvicio.
Holy shit. Hang on. I'm going.
Talk about their formation. Talk about what she saw. So strong.
Holy shit.
For all of you.
Holy shit. The judge got emotional. Whoa. Hang on. That's interesting. Going back for that.
And over.
Oh, fuck.
And then, of course, the Waukesha South Band.
Of course. You piece of shit. Burn in hell, you piece of shit.
It's hard not to think about what I watched and not have this reaction.
Yes. Yes.
Those were images that frankly kept me up at night, that I saw over and over and over. For their band director, she is a hero to me, to get up on the stand, to talk about, and that was Sarah Waymeyer, our Parvicio, to identify each one of her students. Talk about their formation. Talk about what she saw.
I want to see the dancing grannies.
So strong.
Where are my dancing grannies that you stole from us? You fuck. Give me
Mr.
my
Brooks had another
dancing
opportunity
grannies
to
back.
stop. This wasn't one isolated person that he could claim, I didn't know I struck someone. This was driving over people. What Kyle Jewell described as the SUV went over people like they were big old speed bumps.
Big old speed. I want my fucking dancing goddamn grannies.
The Green children were injured around there. Thankfully, their physical injuries were minor, and I know I could probably spend a long time talking about the injuries of the band members, and I'm not going to go through that. They were significant. It was horrific.
We're turning the
Thankfully,
dancing grannies into a national group.
and then, of course, moving
we're spreading
on to
across our fucking
logistics.
country. And they all say,
Between
fuck
the
Darrell
band
Brooks.
and the Blazers, that is where Kelly Graybow and her 10-year-old daughter, Adelia,
Fuck
were.
Darrell Brooks. We are the dancing grannies.
And Kelly referenced this in her statement yesterday, was seeing the tires
I know, like speed
go
bumps.
past her head
That's right.
after she was hit. Adelia had major injuries as well. And then, of course, the footage from the Waukesha Blazers. And Jeff Rogers talked both at the trial, he testified, and he gave a statement yesterday about Again, having to come into this courtroom, talk about all of those who were with him, who were injured, and of course, little Jackson Sparks. Another video that frankly is very difficult to watch and hard to unsee. You heard not only Jeff, but Josh Craner talk about what happened, and Josh, of course, being struck.
So I have it on good authority that this
And then
judge
the
has
extreme
received
dance crew.
shit ton of love mail,
I think it's
and I think that that's 100% appropriate.
fair that I didn't fully understand the extent of their injuries until hearing from many of the victims yesterday. I now understand why.
I wonder
one
how
of
many
the
marriage
girls
proposals
called
she
her
got in
aunt
the
and
mail.
said, my entire team is dead, because that's what it looked like. It was horrific.
Horrific.
And to think of those two brave young ladies who got up during this trial to testify about what they saw, what they did.
Oh,
Jamie and Alyssa, your dancers are proud of you, and because of you.
because of
Justice has
you.
We heard from other spectators, Deborah Ramirez, regarding herself and her son, that the vehicle was accelerating, not stopping. A moment that sticks out to me was really Mr. Brooks trying to chastise her for not seeking medical attention right away. Her response was perfect. She waited due to the number of injured and all the blood she saw. Understandable. Not something to be chastised for. And then moving on, and again, I know I'm not mentioning everybody. These are just some of the highlights that, and I should call them lowlights, not highlights, but some of the testimony and evidence that really, really impacted the court. Stephanie Bonesteel and her husband testified about what Citizens Bank was doing, hearing the impact against Jane, a very loud thud and an audible gasp from the crowd. Her husband, Adam, was driving the support vehicle, and when he was being cross-examined about why he didn't see the driver, again, he just simply said, I thought it was my wife that had been hit. All I saw was the red poncho. And the only time we ever heard about brake lights was when Jane Kulik was on that vehicle and he braked so he could get her off the top and run her over. We heard from Matthew Harris, who talked about the red SUV coming straight at them and then veering and going in the direction of the dancing grannies. And again, that audible gasp as he described that eerie sound. He saw a child injured in front, Jane Kulik behind. Actually, the child and Jane Kulik behind, and two victims ahead. He saw two of the dancing grannies. What he described as the SUV traveling faster than the speed limit. What I wrote down from his testimony is he's a combat vet, and this is what he said. I've never saw anything like this in such a safe area. You could tell he felt bad about not seeking treatment right away for his daughter. He talked about how his wife's a nurse practitioner. And again, he didn't want to direct resources from other victims, that we thought she was okay enough to be home with them. Now, by this time in the parade, it's very clear the spectators are noticing something is not right. The sounds, the atmosphere has changed. There's screaming, there's gasping. There's a noticeable difference. At this point, I believe that Owen was struck, Kelsey was struck,
Sorry, my bad. All right, so what I was saying is that uh, fuck, appreciate the help there. Uh, what she's pointing out is something I was saying earlier in the video is that he kept saying what happened, what happened, what happened, what happened, instead of what I did. You know what I mean? Oh, what happened was a terrible tragedy. What happened was you put your foot on the fucking gas and didn't stop and continued to fucking run people goddamn down. You know what I mean? Um and now she's pointing out right now and what she's saying is it was not what happened, it was what you did. And I love that. I'm sorry. I'm not good at these things. I don't usually react to shit like this or anything, but I'm enjoying this.
Probably another miracle given the injuries she sustained, a tear in her spleen, significant road rash cuts requiring facial surgery. What Mr. Knapp described the driver as having eyes completely wide open. And then next we heard from Laura Thien, one of the dancing grannies. She talked about the sisterhood. Another brave woman came in.
God damn it, I wanted to see the dancing grannies.
7 people injured from her group. 4
7
fatalities.
people.
She said it all happened in a matter of seconds. All I seen was bodies. It looked like a war. The 6 people who were killed suffered multiple blunt force traumatic injuries. Severe, significant, some dying instantly. I was impressed by both Dr. Shield and Dr. Vizricki. Dr. Vizricki for her attention to detail, her looking at that vehicle, inspecting it, looking at the heights where certain damage was done and it being consistent in height with the individuals that she did the autopsies on. And of course, Dr. Shield, and both of these individuals have testified before me, but Dr. Shield, very shaken from the autopsy of little Jackson Sparks.
Autopsy, you fuck. You hear that? Autopsy.
Then, continuing on, heard from Father Witter, very gracious man. He too talked about how he noticed something unusual. Saw an SUV flying down the road, heard thuds. It was faster than anyone in their right mind would be going. He estimated it to be over 25 miles per hour. And then Lucas Hallmark, the off-duty police officer who was walking with his family on that day. He talked about the commotion behind, the large amount of screaming. You could feel it was palpable when he testified about having the wherewithal to try to get his kids out of the way, throwing his 3-year-old as far as he could out of the way. You could see the pain on his face when he talked about not being that successful with his 7-year-old. He said I wasn't quick enough.
Fuck you.
He testified that he thought this was
burn in hell.
That not stop. I referenced the speed already. The ACE speed estimation from Detective Carpenter, 33 to 34 miles per hour, a little bit more than that. The speed calculation by Michael Smith from State Patrol from farther down the route of averaging 32 miles per hour. And then, of course, the vehicle inspection by the State Patrol, finding no mechanical issues. There was also the Franklin Assistant Chief who attended the parade. He was near West Main Street in Naples. He provided a testimony regarding the SUV, the window being open, and the driver sticking his head out, looking out.
It probably took everything she had as a judge not to hold him in contempt, because the only thing that would have done was drag shit out longer, which is what he wanted. He made a 2.5 fucking hour impact statement for himself. Are you fucking kidding me? He just does not want to face the consequences of his own fucking actions. And that's not just in this case. As you pointed out earlier, he's already up for. They had him strapped into a fucking wheelchair.
He testified how he thought
because he's
perhaps
on
it was either a
suicide
medical
watch.
emergency, maybe even a mechanical issue. But it was clear once that SUV passed him.
Yes, he
saw
wanted
that
to
driver,
drag it out
he
as
saw
much
you,
as
Mr.
possible.
Brooks. No panic, no distress. His heart sank. He knew it was not a medical emergency. The body language just didn't fit. It did not believe it was mechanical at that point either. And then he saw the vehicle crank to the right. As he testified, he seemed excited about what he had done. Another off-duty police officer, this one from Wauwatosa,
Yeah, it's
talked about how he saw
Come on, I ain't got.
after the fact crash the vehicle.
I ain't got all night, man.
Yell
I
out
got
an
a family.
expletive and run
I
cell
gotta get
phone.
home.
The spotlight's still on. We all saw that video.
And I ain't gonna run through a parade to get
Of course,
there.
at one point, Officer Skolton had contact. And as he testified, he put things together. Keep in mind all of the radio traffic, right, about one person, then like 15 people, and another 15. It was very apparent to him that although he was on the far end, he was around the dog leg on Wisconsin and Maine, that a vehicle had driven through the parade. He saw this vehicle. Of course, at that point, it was heavily damaged. He made the decision to use deadly force. What did he do after? What did Darrell Brooks do after? We crashed the vehicle. He fled the scene in a hurry. He changed his appearance, took off his sweatshirt, loses his shoes, I think in a hurry to get out of there, not caring that they had fallen off. He puts his hair up. We saw that on a number of videos. He asked unsuspecting people to use their phone to call an Uber, all within minutes of all of this happening. He was in such a hurry to get out of there, he left his phone in the SUV. He calls his mother, who arranges for an Uber. We heard from the Uber driver.
Yeah,
He never
I
showed
probably
up.
should. I probably should.
It was nearby, ultimately
we pretty
where he
much
was
know the
found.
whole story. I
And then, of
appreciate
course,
your.
the
Man,
ringing footage of his
somebody was like,
contact with Daniel.
"Oh, why are you skipping?"
That is
Some
Adam.
give me a
I've-
bunch of grief about that shit. Like, oh, you're skipping around. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I do what I want. I'm like, I'm reacting.
Factors for sentencing is frankly it's challenging to talk about the impact to the victims without getting emotional. This trial is unlike anything
Thanks
that
for
I've
hanging
ever
out, Hammer.
been a part of. The sheer magnitude of the crime, the number of people impacted, how they were impacted, the vicious, senseless nature of it, and hearing about the impact of all of that on our community members and the people who were at the parade, it's heart-wrenching. And I wanted to do that before I really got to the meat of sentencing.
Hang on.
Because I also thought it was important to really spend some time recognizing.
All right, so he cried all day through his impact statements from his crew. The judge cried for the fucking victims. He cried for himself and his own little mental fucking problems that made him slam on the gas pedal because he just couldn't. Dude, the fucking contrast between levels of respectability, I guess. I'm not sure what words to say, but fuck. Shit. She cried for the people that he killed. She cried for the people that he killed while he cried for his own
who are in this
fucking
courtroom and who
skin.
have provided statements. Today, my focus in sentencing will be about November 21 of 2021, the events shortly before that or leading up to it and after, and are not about Mr. Brooks' conduct during this trial, even though case law is very clear that his conduct at trial can and is a legitimate factor for the court to consider. I need to make the record very clear that in no way what I do here today is based on Mr. Brooks exercising his right to.
She just said, I can use your shitty conduct in court to exacerbate your sentence. but I'm not going to. You want to talk about, dude, classy Dutch, man. Fuck. Again, I'm sure she's received multiple marriage proposals over the last 6 months.
Trial. That is a firmly embedded constitutional right, which I support, which I upheld. Of course, every person charged with a crime has a right to a trial. This court honored that right. I protected that right, even if Mr. Brooks treated it with contempt, disrespect, and at times like a game. But sentencing today is directly related to his conduct on November 21 of 2021 and the other sentencing factors, which, as I indicated previously, include the seriousness of the offense, the need to protect the public, and his character and rehabilitative needs. Today, I am tasked with sentencing Darrell Brooks for 76 counts related to a couple of moments in time.
Oh, yeah.
Moments that are tragic.
Here we go.
Moments that were frankly avoidable. My sentence here today is
Drum
of it are twofold. Really threefold if we think about the community. One, it is punishment. Two, protection of the community. And three, what I hope is justice and closure for the families and the community at large. I, of course, want to recognize and give due respect to the guilty verdicts that were rendered by the jury in this case. Not just 76 guilty verdicts, but the special verdict questions that they answered, including for counts 1 through 6 and 7 through 67 that had the special verdict question related to the use of a dangerous weapon. So let me talk about the seriousness of this offense.
Darrell.
The seriousness of the offense can be summed up, frankly, in one word.
Getting ready for a big butter.
There is nothing, no other word that can best describe what happened on November 21 of 2021 than the word attack. I talked about, during my remarks regarding the trial, about the opportunities that Darrell Brooks had to avoid this altogether. I put Exhibit 15 on the screen for a bit, which is the exhibit that details the map.
We don't even know how bad he fucked himself. Can we please get a clarification for how badly he fucked himself? Oh, thank you.
The staging area.
Appreciate
and I
that.
believe if you look further up on Exhibit 15, it even depicts where White Rock School is. And that, of course, is where we saw the video of the altercation.
Again, okay, so Hammer. Again, that's why I talk about the whole suicide watch thing being a safe move for him.
But that is really where things started, where I
get the guy in general population,
Mr.
man.
Brooks
I don't know.
With rage.
I've never been in prison, but I would
chose not to control on this date.
That guy would
He
get
had a number
his
of opportunities
ass
to simply
just whoop.
drive in the other direction down White Rock. But he chose to drive toward Main Street, even though.
I also want to. I want to clarify. I want to clarify that not everybody in prison or in jail is trying to fucking ass rape somebody. Sometimes they just want you to show fucking respect, and sometimes they just want you. Well, sometimes they're gonna show you how to show respect. And most of the time that ends with an ass whoop. You know, it's like, fuck 3 or 4 fucking people, man. It's not like a safe situation. Fuck the COs, they're not gonna help you. I like to believe that I'm correct, but I don't have that much experience. I've only spent I've spent some time in jail, but I've never been to prison, thankfully.
From the testimony, we know it was very evident that it was staging for a parade. There were many people, may not have been exactly by the school, but farther down White Rock. From Niagara forward is where that staging area was located, and many people were there. The sights and sounds of a parade, the signs on the side of the road telling people not to park there, for example.
Yeah. You have no excuse not
Instead
to
of turning
drive
around,
where you drove
or instead of turning
through
left onto
people.
East
Right.
Main Street,
exactly.
left onto Pleasant. And despite Sergeant Warner trying to flag him down and being in front of a squad.
You flag him down and then shoot him.
Clear indication.
I wish you would have shot him.
Honor,
Fuck.
even gestures of a police officer, and he was in uniform.
Out of the police officers
He
that
drives
shot
down
at
White
his
Rock
ass,
and has
I
contact
wish
with the
one of them
WPC.
would have fucking
Very
hit the mark.
clearly did everything he could to stop Mr. Brooks. And in that moment, thinking it's a
That would have
motorist,
changed everything right now.
but Mr. Brooks chose to basically brush him aside with that SUV and drive onto Main Street, past more people, past many spectators, and in a manner that was not just at a speed inappropriate for a parade, but frankly, that was reckless and endangered anyone who was on the roadway at that time, whether or not he hit anyone between White Rock and Main and Barstow and Main.
I've never hit.
During that,
I've never.
Main Street,
Fuck.
he could have turned off.
I've never.
Northeast Avenue, Martin Street, or in either direction on Barstow. He could have stopped, asked for the police barricades to have been removed, or frankly turned his car around.
See what you're saying. I've never had to do something like that.
He didn't do that.
But
he chose to drive recklessly, carelessly, and maliciously through a parade route and at anyone in his path, where he struck not one, not two, not three, but 68
68
people. We actually know that
people.
number's higher
Holy fuck.
because we now know, we heard from the two individuals who were with Extreme Dance, but the one girl who was struck by one of the individuals who was clearly struck, and that person flew into her. That would qualify for a charge based upon the state's description.
Fuck yeah,
of
it
what they chose
does.
to charge. It's just they didn't know until closer to the sentencing hearing. So 69 individuals, if you include her.
God, somebody got hit by a body flying.
There are so many aggravating
and that
factors
creates
here, it's
an
frankly
extra
difficult
charge.
to even keep track of
I
them
mean,
all.
obviously, why not? Obviously, yes.
complete disregard for the
that
lives
would
of
create a
anyone
new
else
charge. But can you
that day.
imagine
Someone
what
described
somebody
it
had
as
to
depraved
do
indifference.
to
I
have
think that is
somebody
the perfect phrase
hit
to capture the actual
by
events
a
on November
victim
21st,
that was
2021.
already?
The aggravated factors of the numerous opportunities to turn around or not even enter the parade route or simply to stop.
You're fucked, dude.
The fact that he mowed over and used that vehicle as a battering ram to hit 68 individuals, never
again.
once stopping, with rage and anger at unsuspecting people at a parade who were there simply to kick off the holiday season, to experience joy with their families. The intentionality of the conduct is outstanding. The viciousness, the speed, the swerving from side to side at various points. This was not a case of whodunit. From the very beginning, from when this case was charged, it was clear who did this. Now, that is not to say that I prejudged this case. I did not. But after sitting through this trial, after watching the many videos, after listening to the testimony of the many, many dozens of witnesses, it is clear the state had overwhelming evidence of Mr. Brooks's guilt. What's also aggravated is his complete and utter lack of remorse. He spoke here today for 2 hours. One sentence. That's it.
Yes!
I'm sorry.
Yes!
No detail. 2 hours. One sentence. No empathy for any of these individuals, at times mocking them with hand gestures.
Oh, me.
Or rolling his eyes multiple times. That is not an indication or a sign of someone who has empathy, who is sorry for what he has done. We may never know the true why, but we were provided with nothing here today other than a feeble attempt to blame mental health, which frankly does a disservice to those who truly suffer from mental health issues. I understand why his family might cling to that because of the difficulty in coming to grips with a loved one doing such heinous things. But for Mr. Brooks, it's nothing more than indifference, deflection, and outright denial of what he did and the impact that he has caused as a result of his heinous actions. I searched for a mitigating factor in this case. I waited patiently for an apology, a true apology. I didn't get it.
No.
And not for my benefit.
It was all somebody else's fault. Somebody pissed me off, so I hit the gas pedal. Like, that's
The law
supposed to...
allows me to look at things such as Mr. Brooks's prior criminal history, including the history of criminal offenses and pending charges, the history of undesirable behavior patterns, which can include dismissed, uncharged, or unproven offenses or facts, even including expunged offenses not really relevant here, acts resulting in probation revocation. Of course, those are part of his criminal history, nothing specific to these charges. I can look at his personality, character, and social traits, the vicious or aggravated nature of the crimes, the degree of his culpability, his demeanor at trial and truthfulness, his age, his educational background and employment record, his remorse, repentance, and cooperativeness, his need for close rehabilitative control, the rights of the public, the recommendations of the interested parties, including victims and family members of homicide victims. I can consider statements made by his own family. I can certainly consider the length of pretrial detention, which I note, though, when facing 6 life sentences, is really a fraction of the time available to this court. The loss of life, in this case,
what is he holding?
Is certainly one of the aggravating factors here.
Oh, is he? Wait.
The number of people injured, also an aggravating factor.
Is he trying to hold an objection sign? Like she let him do during the trial?
Certainly palpable, because this was a Christmas parade. It was a comment earlier, either today or yesterday, that this was not one act where Mr. Brooks drove into
that's
a
all
crowd of
well
people.
and good, but
This was sustained driving from block to block to block to block, picking off people that were unsuspecting. 68
grounds
driving over people as if they were nothing more.
I love the whole ground objection overruled.
What's also aggravating is his conduct after
it was like
he drove through.
Literally drew out every aspect of the fucking trial.
To flee
By every
pretty evident.
He would object to everything.
Testimony from trial. And Mr. Brooks had no idea there were
hang on.
logs in that backyard that could damage his vehicle. He was
have to
attempting
pause this to actually talk about that. Literally, every time he would object to something, and the god damn it! I don't have my words in my head right now. I've been drinking. Prosecution. Every time the prosecution would present their reason for objecting, he would say grounds. But the reality is that under an objection, the judge doesn't have to give you grounds for sustaining the objection, technically. If the objection is valid, then it's sustained. You don't get to ask the judge the grounds for sustaining an objection. You don't get to. That's not a fucking thing. That's not how this works at all. But he did it the entire time. And literally every question the prosecution would ask, he would object to. And then when he would object to something that he had no idea what the fuck he was talking about, they would and then towards the end of the trial, he said, well, this trial's been drawn out, but it's not by my fault. And she said, and it's not because actually he said it's not by my fault, and it's not because I'm stupid. And she said, I disagree. And it was both. Not only are you stupid, but also you have done everything to drag this bullshit out as much as possible. 2.5 hours of your own fucking statement. What the really? Dude, come on, Darrell. You ain't that fucking smart, dude.
Flee when he ran over them and it ultimately disabled that vehicle, and he was forced to abandon it. He ditched it. leaving personal identification information in it and his phone.
Oh yeah, that's
clear
when
intent
he
to get
starts
out of there
going
in
and
a hurry.
looking for other people's cell phones.
And then we
Starts
have that
calling
series
people.
of videos that we saw at trial of him going through backyards, coming in contact with people, asking to use phones.
Yep.
Ultimately ending up at Mr. Ryder's home, who graciously took him in.
Who,
Never
thank
once
God, called
Mr.
the
Brooks
fucking
showing any
police.
signs of distress, of any emotion of what he had just done.
Oh.
Cool, calm, collected.
The
Certainly
judge is
not
giving
a
her
sign of
own
someone
fucking
who had
impact
any
statement.
remorse for what he had just done.
And
Someone who's
saying,
involved in an accident, even a tragic accident, one where they flee the scene and are later caught, oftentimes show incredible remorse, tears,
some kind of
not tears for themselves, but tears for what they've caused, a recognition of the loss of life, for example, from their conduct. Nothing. An individual who simply wanted to flee. That is the epitome of consciousness of guilt evidence. Fleeing, changing your appearance, taking off the sweatshirt, not even caring that your shoes are off your feet because you're so intent on fleeing the area, putting your hair up from it being down.
This judge earned this. This judge earned the
No doubt,
maximum.
this is by far and away one of the most aggravated cases I've ever presided over. The sheer magnitude of the loss, the number of victims, the types of crimes for which the jury has convicted him. 6 counts of intentional homicide, 61 counts of first-degree recklessly endangering safety, 6 counts of hit and run, 2 counts of felony bail jumping, 1 count of misdemeanor battery. What's further aggravated is the fact that he was out on bond. He should have had no contact with Eric Patterson. But the rules mean nothing to Mr. Brooks. Nothing. He didn't care. This was someone who
Ow. You acted
2
like a
prior
jackass.
occasions,
You did whatever the
charged
fuck
with,
you wanted to.
frankly, causing
and
mayhem. 1, a reckless endangering safety for discharging a firearm. The other for
good night.
battering and then running over Eric Patterson's foot. This court does get to consider the other act's evidence that the state sought to introduce at trial. That other act's evidence includes that on November 2 of 2021, Milwaukee police took a complaint from Erica Patterson that Mr. Brooks had run over her with his vehicle and tried to kill her. She had tire marks on her right pant leg. She could not move her leg and had blood coming from her mouth. On that date, Mr. Brooks was driving the same vehicle that he drove through the parade. Erica Patterson was conveyed to Frederick Memorial Hospital. Her injuries received medical attention. She even had that boot on her leg on November 21 of 2021.
Your mom's car. Your mom's car. Your mom's car.
As she tried walking past him when she was at a gas station. I think
Can't
initially
even-
before that, at another location, but ultimately where he allegedly ran over her was at a gas station and caused the injury to her leg. Struck her in the face once.
Dude. Come on. You can't even get your own fucking car to run people over with? You piece of shit. You gotta get your moms, your girlfriends. Oh, aren't you smooth and sweet until fucking people get hit by it? Yeah. Fuck you, you piece of shit. Rotten hell.
Once with a closed fist causing pain and bleeding without her consent. And then it was after she walked away that he followed her. When police had contact with him, he denied driving his mother's vehicle.
His mother's vehicle.
When
My
police had
mom!
contact with him at his
My
house, he
mom!
ignored their commands because he was found in the vehicle, claiming that he was having an anxiety attack
Oh,
upon
I
the
have
sight of the squad car and needed to
back
get
in my
into the
mom's
home to
car.
get his inhaler.
Burn in hell. You piece of shit.
When I say the rules don't matter to Mr. Brooks and court orders mean nothing, Mr. Brooks was in custody, and there are jail phone calls where he's berating Erica Patterson, encouraging her to recant, blaming her for what had happened, saying things on that phone call like, "You trying to make it seem like everything is always everyone else's fault but yours, like you don't never do anything to cause shit, and the whole cause of this shit was something that you fucking did." He ended the call by telling Erica Patterson, "You did this shit, and you couldn't even keep your mouth shut after numerous people told you that shit. This ain't the place for you to be doing this shit, and you still ran your mouth. And I'm the one sitting in here facing all this time." He repeatedly calls her a bitch.
Oh, you're fucked, buddy. Dude, you're so fucked.
During a phone call on November 11th, Darrell Brooks is overheard or captured saying, "Why in the hell would I just try to mow her down knowing I could kill her like that? Like, okay, I probably got a few screws loose, but I ain't hardly no goddamn fool." He's complaining that she won't help post his bail. "You didn't put a cent on my bail. Why should someone else have to pay for some shit you caused?"
Whoa.
The end, apparently, of that conversation, or at least moments later, he says to her, "Nah, I didn't try to do anything, because if I tried to do something, you wouldn't be on the phone now. That's what you're not realizing. If I really tried to do something, you wouldn't be on the phone now."
Whoa.
That is
Whoa.
the rage and the anger that Mr. Brooks had on November 21 of 2021 when he tracked down Erica Patterson, confronted her. This wasn't about him getting money from her, like he lied to Detective Carpenter about. This was to confront her.
Hey,
He clearly hit her, we know that. This is the type of man that drove through the Christmas parade, enraged because, frankly,
what I do.
it's entirely possible that Corey Runkle and Nicholas Kirby saved the life of Erica Patterson. It's clear Mr. Brooks was hell-bent to cause harm to her, but she was able to get free, went back to her friends.
Fucking hammer down.
Who knows what would have happened before their intervention.
Holy shit. Wow.
If you think back to the testimony of Nicholas Kirby, he felt bad for threatening Mr. Brooks, like somehow this was his fault. He was just trying to be there for his friend.
Is it typical for a judge to offer testimony? Because it seems like the judge is offering testimony.
Is a very clear indication of your poor moral character. It demonstrates unequivocally that you have absolutely no remorse for anything that you do, you have no empathy for anyone,
no,
and that you are justified in the actions that you take. In addition to that conduct, as part of your character, this court is able to look at and consider your prior record. And I'm well aware, sir, that you're raising an objection sign that you have forfeited your right to be here, and I will not stop and you will not be brought into this courtroom. I will continue. This is his prior record, going back to...
Oh, she's gonna hit him up. Oh,
2000.
Everything.
Spanning what? Nevada, Georgia, at least police contact in Georgia. We have an unknown disposition, and Wisconsin. Substantial battery in 2000, party to a crime. Put on probation, ultimately that was revoked, he went to prison. 2002, felony possession of THC, jail time. 2003, resisting obstructing, jail time. 2005, disorderly conduct ticket, but he failed to pay the forfeiture and ended up serving an alternative to incarceration. Sorry, he ended up serving for failing to pay 30 days jail. 2009, obstructing 2 days jail, meaning he lied to police. 2010, strangulation. Battery was dismissed and read in, put on probation, ultimately revoked, serving 11 months jail. 2012, misdemeanor bail jumping, possession of THC, with a number of other charges being dismissed and read in, 180 days jail.
I'm gonna say 2009. That was over 22. That was 22 years ago. We're in 22. 2009, 23 years ago. So this guy has been doing nasty shit for a long time.
Concurrent. Also in 2012, a misdemeanor resisting or obstructing. So either he lied or he fled from police or did something to make their job more difficult. 37 days jail consecutive. In Nevada, in 2006, domestic battery, a suspended sentence. Obstructing after being found guilty at trial, for which he served jail time. 2007, statutory sexual seduction as a felony. This is for impregnating Erica Patterson when she was a minor. 2016, charged with not being in compliance with the sex offender registry requirements, for which there is an outstanding warrant.
Oh no!
In Georgia, 2021 arrest for battery, domestic violence.
He was a sex offender and didn't
where she came from.
Didn't do his duties, man.
But I won't make. I say presumably, but frankly, doesn't matter who it was with. We also know that there's the 2003 paternity case out of Waukesha County. Why is that relevant? Because 8 times during that case, A warrant has been issued for contempt of court, meaning for failure to pay his financial obligations to a child or children. The pending cases for which one pending case, I should say, he was, I don't believe, charged with bail jumping for that one. The 20 CF 2550, 2 counts of recklessly using a weapon, felon in possession of a firearm, released ultimately in March of 2021. He's accused in that case of firing a shot. There were two occupants in a vehicle. One was his nephew, and when he was picked up by police, they loaded Beretta 9mm.
Why was this guy even still on the fucking streets?
I already talked about the other acts evidence. That is the for which he was charged with felony bail jumping, the second degree recklessly endangering safety for allegedly running over Erica Patterson, the battery DV, DCDV, and a resisting obstructing. And then the second would be he was charged with intimidation of a victim, felony bail jumping for conduct on November 8th, so November 2nd, November 8th. This is clearly someone with a demonstrated violent history and past, someone who has absolutely no regard for anyone but himself. To say that he is a lifelong criminal, I think, is accurate. He disobeys law enforcement, he disrespects court orders, and he certainly demonstrated that he has no respect for these proceedings. Multiple acts of violence, violent, dangerous behavior that predated the attack on the Waukesha Christmas parade. His character, or lack thereof, is also demonstrated by his complete and utter denial of culpability in this case. His blaming of his mental health, or alleged mental health. There's no evidence that he was suffering from a manic episode. I went through all of that earlier today, going through the 4 reports related to the special plea. None of those doctors found support for his special plea.
Fuck, buddy. Bye-bye.
Mr. Brooks talked about, at times, this being the will of God, or that all things happen for a reason.
What is that?
I tell you, Mr. Brooks,
little
you are
son.
not an instrumentality of God.
I object.
Death may be inevitable to all of us, but you cut the lives of 6 individuals short. You alone, Mr. Brooks, cut the lives of these 6 innocent people short. I talked earlier about how I believe he's intelligent, deliberate, and purposeful in what he does. I've considered that you have treatment needs. Perhaps there are intersecting mental health issues as it relates to your personality disorder, but those issues can best be addressed in a confined setting where the Department of Corrections will be charged statutorily to evaluate you and to provide any medical or mental health treatment that you need. This is a case that falls squarely on the need to protect the community. I referenced this earlier. There's really 3 primary reasons for the sentences I will impose here today. One is punishment, one is to protect the community, and the other is to provide justice and closure to the victims. Because under that category of need to protect, the court does get to consider the impact of these crimes on the victims. I went through at length in reviewing all of those victim impact statements. I certainly didn't go through every single one, just highlighting some of them, but doing so with purpose, because it is very clear to this court that Mr. Brooks has caused carnage, mayhem. It has resulted in many people suffering from PTSD, from mental and emotional trauma that will take a lifetime to recover from, and for some, perhaps, if at all. You have taken away from these individuals future memories. They will never have birthdays with the 6 individuals who were killed. There will be no weddings. There will be no graduations. There will be none of the milestones that these families were looking forward to, whether it be for an innocent 8-year-old or an innocent 79-year-old. Frankly, Mr. Brooks, no one is safe from you. This community can only be safe if you are behind bars for the rest of your life.
Yes! Wow!
The actions of Darrell Brooks demand punishment. The community is not safe from your violent and criminal conduct unless you are in custody. You left a path of destruction, chaos, death, injury, confusion, and panic as you drove 7 or so blocks through the Christmas parade, never once stopping or seemingly caring about the wake of carnage that you left. 4 of those blocks were turned into a scene that frankly is no different than a war zone.
Go away.
On counts 1 through 6, This court is imposing a life sentence without the possibility or eligibility for extended supervision consecutive to one another. One life sentence for Virginia Sorensen. One life sentence for Leanna Owen. One life sentence for Tamara Duran. One life sentence for Jane Kulik. One life sentence for Bill Hospital. And one life sentence for Jackson Sparks. I've considered the enhancer and the additional 5 years that I could impose, but I don't need to really order that because I've not made him eligible for extended supervision, and it would only be to increase his time on initial confinement. But make no mistake, Mr. Brooks, you use that vehicle as a battering ram, no different than, frankly, a firearm. On counts 7 through 67, these are 61 counts of first-degree recklessly endangering safety.
Well, we're not done. Oh, shit.
Without the enhancer, carry a maximum of 12.5 years. Because of the enhancer, a total of 17.5 years. And under Wisconsin law, the 5 years is added to the initial term of confinement. So what could
12
be
plus 5. That's
7.5 years is a maximum of 12.5 years. And I'd ask that everyone no longer show any reaction to the sentence so I can get through this. On counts 7 through 67, on each count I will impose a total sentence of 17.5 years. 12.5 years of initial confinement, plus 5 years of extended supervision, consecutive to any other sentence that I've imposed here
Well,
today.
17 plus 5 was different.
That is 762.5 years of initial confinement and 305 years of extended supervision on top of the life sentences that I've imposed. That is 17.5 years, sir, for Nicole White. 17.5 years for Eleanor Anders, 17.5 years for Sasha Catalan Castillo. 17.5 years for Maura Gilchrist. 17.5 years for Justin Gullickson. 17.5 years for Harry Guilfoy. 17.5 years for Aiden Lofgren. 17.5 years for Theo Maza. 17.5 years for Tyler Pudland. 17.5 years for Connor Tank. 17.5 years for Eric Teagues. 17.5 years for Adelia Mathioli. 17.5 years for Kelly Graybow. 17.5 years for Josh Craner. 17.5 years for Riley Rogers. 17.5 years for Caden Rogers. 17.5 years for Tucker Sparks. 17.5 years for Isabella Bartlett. 17.5 years for Yaritzi Becerra Montez. 17.5 years for Samantha Coelho. 17.5 years for Madison Hollingsworth. 17.5 years for Mackenzie Hollingsworth. 17.5 years for Mitchell Lampine. 17.5 years for Kathleen Pielmeyer. 17.5 years for Julia Schleichow. 17.5 years for Olivia Stover. 17.5 years for Jennifer Stover. 17.5 years for Jesselyn Torres. 17.5 years for Alice Urell. 17.5 years for Charlotte Urell. 17.5 years for Vivian Urell. 17.5 years for Grayson Urell. 17.5 years for Lola Hospital. 17.5 years for Tamara Rosentretter. 17.5 years for Betty Strang. 17.5 years for Maria Alvarez Dominguez. 17.5 years for Gregoria Romelia Perez. 17.5 years for Elliot Hallmark. 17.5 years for Benjamin Hallmark. 17.5 years for Patrick Heppy. 17.5 years for Lori Locken. 17.5 years for Marisol Lopez Gutierrez. 17.5 years for Adair Lopez Rubeloff. 17.5 years for Juan Marquez. 17.5 years for David Marquez. 17.5 years for William Mitchell. 17.5 years for Jason Petchloff. 17.5 years for Margaret Pachulis. 17.5 years for Yamilet Perales Alvarez. 17.5 years for Island Perales Alvarez. 17.5 years for Ashley Perales Alvarez. 17.5 years for Jose Perales Alvarez. 17.5 years for Maria Perez. 17.5 years for Camila Perez Gonzalez. 17.5 years for Isaac Foglia. 17.5 years for Deborah Ramirez. 17.5 years for Charles Green. 17.5 years for Lily Green. 17.5 years for Brinley Harris. 17.5 years for Kelsey Knapp. 17.5 years for Owen Ricciati. On counts 68 through 73, which are the 6 counts of hit and run resulting in death. These are 25-year felonies each. The court will do the following. On count 68, a 25-year total sentence, 15 years of initial confinement, 10 years of extended supervision. This will be concurrent to count 1. Count 69, the same sentence, 25 years total, 15 years of initial confinement, 10 years of extended supervision, concurrent to count 2. Did I say that the right way the first one? Okay. Count 68 is concurrent to count 1. Count 69 is concurrent to count 2. Count 70, 25 years total, 15 years of initial confinement, 10 years of extended supervision, concurrent to count 3. Count 71, 25 years total, 15 years of initial confinement, 10 years of extended supervision, concurrent to count 4. Count 72, 25-year total, 15 years of initial confinement, 10 years of extended supervision, concurrent to count 5. And on count 73, a 25-year total sentence, 15 years of initial confinement, 10 years of extended supervision, concurrent to count 6. On count 74 and 75, the 2 felony counts of bail jumping, the court is ordering a 6-year sentence total on each count, 3 years of initial confinement, 3 years of extended supervision, consecutive to all other counts but concurrent with one another. And lastly, but certainly not least, the maximum sentence for the battery to Erica Patterson, 9 months consecutive to any other sentence. To order anything other than what I have done, sir, would be to unduly depreciate the seriousness of these offenses. It is needed, although largely symbolic, given the number of years that I have imposed here today, because frankly, you deserve it.
Yeah,
I know it's symbolic, but it needs to hold you accountable in a very real and tangible way. For all of these sentences that I have imposed, I will order the following conditions: no contact with the victims as identified in the amended victim key or their families, no contact of any kind with Eric Patterson. You are to pay restitution in the amount of $47,193.29 to EMC Insurance Company, that's on behalf of the Waukesha School District, and $124,220.65 to the Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Again, I'm going to guess that
I'm
she's
ordering
gotten
DNA surcharges
several
on all
marriage
counts.
proposals
175, it's $250.
since the beginning
On
of
count
this
76,
trial.
it's $200. Those are mandatory under the law. I'm also imposing the domestic abuse surcharge on count 76 of $100. I'm also imposing all state or court costs on all counts, although my primary emphasis is that restitution be paid before costs, surcharges, and fees. I will order that restitution, costs, and fees be paid out of prison money. In other words, that all financial obligations shall be collected pursuant to statutory provisions as requested by the state. That's frankly a standard, it's customary, but it will be in the judgment of conviction. And then pursuant to 949.165, I'll find that it is appropriate for this court to order an escrow account under 949.165 for payment of restitution, costs, fees, surcharges, and even for costs associated with prior
Unless he
representation or
stays
future
in
representation under the
Suicide
statute.
Watch,
Mr. Brooks has been convicted of a number of serious crimes
none of
for
this
which
shit's
this
ever
section
going to
is
get paid,
appropriate.
man. Because
I will
they're
order
going
360
to...
days credit as to count 1 and count 68.
They're going to kill him.
Only all other counts, 0 days credit because of the
He's dead.
consecutive nature of the sentences that I've imposed here today. I
Yeah,
calculated
I know.
that
Yeah.
with my sentence calculator. Of course, that is through yesterday because these sentences commence today. There are a number of advisements I must go through. First of all, Mr. Brooks will be provided with a written explanation of determinate life sentence regarding the first-degree intentional homicide charges. Of course, he's not eligible for release to extended supervision. That form
God, she's
defines
got to feel good about
extended
this.
confinement for him, and there's
God, that's got to
other
feel
language on here that he
good.
can read for
Thank
his
fuck.
convenience.
We're
He
like
also will be provided
some
with the notice of right to
finality,
seek
you
post-conviction
know?
relief form.
I get the
The court will
finally
fill out the
fucking
caption for him. He is
sentence your
instructed to review
ass
it
with
and
all
review the
the
defendant's
bullshit
acknowledgement,
that
make the
you brought
appropriate
to my
selection, sign
fucking
and
face
date it, and return that
that I told
to
you not to
court.
do.
I must advise
And you
you,
did
sir, you have been
anyway,
convicted of a
and so
felony.
here we are.
That means you may not vote in any election until your civil rights are restored. You may not possess a firearm. You may not possess body armor. Both of those are
Fuck,
punishable
you thought
as
you were
felonies.
a sovereign citizen.
You also have 20 days from today's date to appeal the decision of this court.
Subject matter
This is statement made by
jurisdiction
Governor
was
Kennedy
going to
today.
save your ass
thank you, Your
from
Honor.
running over people.
All right, those documents will be provided to.
Oh,
Mr.
and
Brooks.
also you were going to
We know
hang
for
the
record
jury
that many times during
and
my
tell
sentencing remarks, he
them
was holding up an objection
that
sign.
they should
That objection
say
is
that
noted for
it's
the record.
okay for you to
This now
run
concludes this
people
hearing.
over.
In this case, we are now off the record.
You're fucked.
Appeal or
Goodbye. Good.
we can do it
I'm
another
not
day.
waiting until I sign the judgment of conviction. I'm not making any determinations regarding where he is to be held. That certainly is within the, once the judgment of conviction is signed, I'll address the motion
Oh,
for stay
please,
pending
God.
appeal. But my understanding is he needs to be
Do not
transported to
start the
Milwaukee, and
subject
I will
matter
not stand in the way of that. All right, I'll schedule that once the judgment of conviction is signed. We are
Understood.
in
Thank you.
recess. Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. Goodbye. What are they doing? Bye bye. Bye bye now. Well, this has been fun. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with the world today, but letting people act like that is just. I was talking about that earlier. Okay, so what I was saying is that. Uh, shit. Actually, there's been one cop that's been behind him the whole time, and I'd love to get that guy's story. I'd love to hear his his uh, tale of dealing with Darrell Brooks. But I'm sure he's as difficult as he is with the fucking judicial system in general. But fuck, man. Oh my god. These people. Uh, well, it's been fun. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm gonna go ahead and kill it because you too. Thanks for hanging out, Hammer.